Hey everybody, this is Daniel with the House of I podcast. This is the first time that we're doing this, or that I'm doing this. I just wanted to kind of like do a little introduction, a kind of recap of what's been going on. I know it's been a while since we've posted one of these, so I just wanted to let you guys know what's going on. Ellie and I are still working on this house that we just purchased, but it's close to being finished, and at this point now we are at least done enough to the point where we can start doing the podcast again. And honestly, we're not necessarily too busy with booking shows and whatnot, so I will start doing this more often. I know it's been a struggle, let's just put it that way. But anyways, on today's episode, or today's podcast, we had Viewers Like You. It was a phenomenal talk or conversation with them. Obviously I've known Vince for a while now. It's probably been like 5 or 6 years. I played with him and Jordan Esker when Jordan needed another guitar player after Chris left, and that was a great experience. But anyways, Vince and Tommy, who I've met more recently, they came on to the podcast. They are the two songwriters from Viewers Like You. Tommy plays guitar and sings. Vince obviously plays drums and sings as well. And it was a great talk. We just talked about music, influences, band controversy, all that stuff. It was great. I can't wait to get them back on to talk about other shit. But I usually, well, at least with any new guests, I want to kind of have the first time that they're on be more of an interview based podcast. So anyways, I'm going to shut up now. Our only upcoming dates are September 21st in Miami at Jada Cole's. We are trying to book more shit, but you know how it is. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the podcast, and yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Later. So yeah, like I said, it's pretty conversational. So what's up, everyone? It is Daniel and Ellie with the House of I podcast, and today our guests are Viewers Like You. What's up, fam?
Hey, man.
How's it going?
Tommy and Vincent came in today to talk to us, so I'm just going to get right into it, and go ahead and describe what you guys would consider Viewers Like You to be.
You want to start off?
Yeah, might as well. Well, Viewers Like You is something we started back in probably like 2012 after the disbandment of our first project, which featured Jordan Esker as well, the Grays.
Yeah.
As I know you guys had Jordan on here a few weeks back.
Yeah, and you also showed me their music too, which was cool.
Right, yeah, I showed you some Gray stuff last time I saw you. But yeah, to start with the history, the Grays was the project that Jordan, Tommy, and I, and Mark as well, was part of from middle school into high school into our first year of college, and that kind of fizzled out after we all went to different colleges and whatnot, and Viewers Like You kind of picked up after that with Mark, Tommy, and I, and recently we took a little hiatus and came back to life roughly a year ago.
Yep.
And we recruited a really good lead guitarist named Zach Short.
Where'd you find him, by the way?
That's a funny story. I wish Mark was here for that, though.
Yeah.
He's the one pretty much that recruited him. Our good friend Mikey, he's a manager at Payway, and Zach moved down from Oklahoma, and so he started working there, and Mark started working over at Dale Mabry. He's a manager over at Einstein's, and it was funny, though. He just came in on a lunch break one day, and our friend Mikey's like, ask this guy, and Mark's like, what? And then next thing you know, he's like, yeah, this guy, he's been playing music around the area for a little bit, and so just introduced Zach to him, and
you just literally just out of nowhere just asked him,
Yep.
like, do you play guitar or something like that?
Yeah, pretty much. He
More
was
or
like,
less.
Zach was asking our friend Mikey, like, hey, do you know anyone that plays music around the area and stuff? Because he's been playing up in Oklahoma for a while, and
He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
You know the perfect people.
yeah, Mark just walked in, and it was just like,
That's
just
hilarious.
happened.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It was
Wow.
exactly what we were looking for.
yeah,
That's cool, man. No, and Zach is a beast, man. He get like, I didn't hear you before he joined the band, but I mean, honestly, I think it's a good thing if I'm like, if I can't tell, for example, like it just sounds right to me. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily sound like it doesn't make sense with
yeah,
you guys.
yeah, because he
know?
plays a lot of good like solos and stuff that I know I can't play, and plus
Yeah.
when I'm singing on top of it, he plays a lot of good licks that like we always wanted to have,
Mhm.
but we just couldn't like incorporate it live. Like if we had a CD, we would probably try to like mess around with doing licks like that, but then we couldn't really provide it live.
Yeah, we
just the
played
three of us.
The trio for a number of years, but it was tough to get the full sound that we really wanted to get across.
Yeah.
That's why we wanted to bring in a lead guitarist.
Yeah, I mean, I and you know, he's obviously extremely talented, but he also can play like the, you know, simple shit as well. He knows
Right.
like he knows when to go off and when not to go off, which is like the perfect tell of having the right guy for your band.
Yeah, because this is completely new for him, our style of music, because he's totally blues and jazzy. Like
Yep.
that's
Classic rock.
I see that.
type of his, which is good though for the type of scales that he plays on top of our type of music. It like meshes really well and makes it like, unique.
I would so I guess going more off of that. So some of the simpler parts, because he solos a lot. Like, are those parts like were they already written out before and you had to learn them?
Mostly not.
Yeah, we just let him do his thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
A
Did
lot
you
of the
guys
parts
have
we had.
songs already?
No, like, well, me and Vince, we write 50-50 on the projects. Like, we're putting together like 11 song CD. Like, he wrote 5 songs, I wrote 5 songs, we wrote 1 song together.
Nice.
So it's pretty diverse.
Yeah.
And so we already had those pretty much written. And Zach came in last year, and we just taught him all that stuff. And we had parts though. Like, I would write a CD. Or not a CD, a song. I would write a song. Yeah, I know. I would write a song, and like I would make like little blocks though for like parts where I would want like a lick.
Okay.
And now that we have him, I had that part, and I'm just all right. You do your thing right there, and just make it your own.
Yeah.
Right, I could say the same too. Like, there's some parts where I have like play this little lick here in this part, but free reign for the rest of this part. Or we also set aside little parts for longer leads and stuff at the end of songs, and
That's
trying to
good.
make it shine.
That's cool because early on for us, and like obviously this not we're not gonna just sit here and talk about us, but just to compare that, like early on for us, when Kenny and I wrote, because we're both kind of similar in that sense, we both write songs. We typically wrote the guitar parts out, like all of it. For example, so like the person would be learning the part. You get what I'm saying? Like, so
Yeah.
for example, if I wrote a song, Kenny would have to learn whatever part I wrote, and then vice versa. So it just kind of worked like that. Now we do what you guys do, where we just kind of like leave the part open and we're just fucking write something to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like a band is more of a full band when that's happening.
Yeah, because all you guys are like songwriters then, and you're all contributing your own, just your own personality to that song.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what
helps.
makes those songs unique.
Yep.
Instead of just having one person just dictate the whole thing, where like you do this, you do this, you do this. It doesn't really necessarily have that creativity that could be there.
Yeah,
Exactly,
I
yeah.
agree. Yeah, I agree completely with that. And honestly, like you said that you guys are working on a CD, which where are you guys recording that CD?
A few different places actually. We laid down drum tracks for about half the CD so far at Black Key Recording
Nice with
with
Dan.
Daniel and Tyler doing great things for us. And we took those drum tracks and we did some bass and guitars over that with Jordan Esker.
Nice.
And we're gonna get back in and finish some more of the bass and guitars with him, and get back in and do the rest of the drum tracks with Daniel and Tyler, and whatever else we can with them when we get to it.
It's
Yeah.
gonna sound good.
Yeah, we're trying to release a single pretty soon though. We just we're in the practice space last night with Jordan, and Zach was laying down some awesome solos for one of our songs, Blind Eye.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
A
That's
bunch of different
awesome.
takes that we can choose from later.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, no, I'm excited to hear that because I've seen you guys play, I think, twice or 3 times now, and like, I guess. So when I first heard you guys, I was like, "Ooh, they must love the Pixies." So let's get into that. So I guess like, you guys must have influences that you both like together that you kind of like envision
Yeah.
for the band. So
Absolutely.
what were those influences?
Well,
So we'll start with the combined interests.
Yeah.
Brand New is a band that's been one of our top favorite bands.
Yeah, that was my
for many
favorite
years.
band, and-
yeah, we shared that for a long time. Recent things happened with them to where it's been harder to
like
be
say
into them.
say
I'm
that
not
we
gonna
could
go any
say
further.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, we
with that.
talked about
yeah,
that.
we've discussed that.
But yeah, it's disappointing. But yeah, that's a lot of my
new-
influence was from
Well, let's go into
Topic from
that. Did you guys? So I'm not.
What were you guys thinking? No, I'm kidding.
I mean, what? Because I never really listened to them. I know that they have a modest mouse-ish sound to them. Is that right?
Bit.
Yeah.
So what is it then? What happened with them? Like, I don't. Obviously, this is not like a. We're not gonna talk shit, but it's just like your opinion on how their music has changed. So what happened there?
Well, no, their music hasn't changed. It's just what happened to the front man, Jesse Lacey.
Oh,
like controversial.
Not really that
Well,
controversial.
yeah, but I know, but like controversial talk. Well, I don't.
That's
yeah.
right. It was like he got okay.
There were some allegations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were very upset about.
Yeah.
We really don't know how to feel
He got
about.
what? Like he did some stuffs?
Yeah,
He
Well,
was
I forgot what it was.
accused of
Well, back when
soliciting
he- when he
something
was,
from
like-
a girl who was
when he was
not
first
18
coming
yet.
out, like back in like 2001,
That
when he
kind of
was
thing.
24, he was with a younger, like 15 or
Jesus.
guy.
Online type relationship.
stuff. Yeah. And it just came to surface last year.
Right
Was it
after they
not
released an
like,
amazing
was she
album.
not down?
Well,
or-
no, well, she was. It was just. I mean,
She's
he knew what
15.
he was doing. Yeah, and she's
15.
15, and he was just in the,
Yep.
Yeah.
using his
But it
power
was
for
pretty
the
messed
wrong.
up.
How
yeah.
old was he? Like 20?
Yeah, 24 or something like
24.
that at that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was over 15 years ago at this point, but
But
No, it's
once
still
something
fucked
happens,
up, man. I mean, you could argue the same thing for Bill Cosby. Like that was years ago, but he
Right.
still fucking did that terrible
Yeah.
shit.
it goes to
Yeah.
show how once
just-
you do something messed up, it can screw you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
like
an hour
my
later.
just 2 cents is that it still doesn't take away the fact like the music that they have put out though is still amazing though.
Right.
Is what I like to say.
That's the struggle
Yeah.
that we
Yeah,
have, the
and
internal
that's-
struggle we got to deal with.
I don't.
Of course.
I don't think you necessarily have to struggle with that because it's it's music, and then also you have to think of like, for example, like the other band members or who knows like what their life is like. Like they're probably really good guys. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
exactly.
I don't
It just
know
happened
that.
just because of one guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So
for
I mean, I think from their perspective, that shit must be fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
sure.
maybe they knew, maybe they didn't. I don't know, but
That's what I was gonna say too. Like they could be nice guys, but they could also be like scumbags. They could be.
yeah.
Could be.
Yeah,
we met a
that's true.
couple of
Who
them. Like,
knows?
Yeah,
they were
honestly
cool,
pretty cool
from what we could tell, but obviously you can never really tell.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyways,
it's a weird thing, man. Because if she's down, she's down. Like it is.
I know, right?
I don't know. She is 15, and that's young.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she looked
She
18.
She
That's the
doesn't,
big
she
thing
doesn't
right
know
there.
what necessarily is going on, but I don't know. Like to me, it's like, is she gonna take it as a traumatizing thing? Probably not. So
maybe not then, maybe now.
I mean, or yeah, I know that's I don't like talking about it because like my
It's tricky. You can't speak
Yeah.
for them because it's it's not our thing.
I don't want
You
like
can't- you can't say-
what?
like I want to say things but I don't want to say things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
I
you're playing the
I think-
diplomatic route.
Exactly.
Right
I'm being political right now.
I don't necessarily think that what I just said was necessarily great, but
I know.
it's
I
true.
know. I'm not saying that you're wrong.
She could have been stupid and said yes. She could have been stupid and said yes, but at the end of the day, that's what I'm thinking. Is she going to take it as a traumatizing thing? Because that's really essentially the worst part about a situation like that, and of course, like sexual assault and things like that, is that that person is now scarred. Is she scarred? If she said yes, and she's like going through her life like whatever, then what are we necessarily discussing? But it's just weird. Cause
Well,
she
it's
was
illegal.
15.
That's what we're
I know.
discussing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's
but-
immoral.
but-
from,
Exactly.
I mean, immoral because it's illegal.
yeah, because you
Yeah.
shouldn't be doing that.
Moral and legal shouldn't always be the same.
I'm
but
glad. I'm glad that
Because if
she's
she-
saying this and not me because she's a
Exactly.
girl.
Yeah, I know.
Because
That's,
if any of you were
Yeah, and
saying
that's why
that, you
none of
guys
us are
would
allowed to
be-
say
You
this.
guys would be
Yeah.
dirtbags.
Yeah.
But no, it's absolutely true. Is she taking it? Is it something traumatizing to her where it's like
Or-
ruining her life?
yeah,
Right,
or
we don't
she-
know.
And if it's exactly, and if it's not, then are you making it a bigger deal than it? needs
perhaps
to
it
be?
was 15 years ago not an issue, and then now she's realizing that she
She fucked up.
got into some fucked up shit.
Who
And
knows, man?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right
especially
after
when
they
that they
speak
put
out.
out.
Me
We'll
too.
get her on
Yep.
the podcast next, bro.
Exactly.
Right? So it's just
game over.
right after brand new, like though their CD goes to #1 on
Yeah,
Billboard
they-
charts and
they
everything
really
is
did.
right when it happens though too.
They
Oh,
hit us
really?
with a surprise album. They spent it was 2009. They released their previous album. They made
it
the
that
fans
long?
wait. Yeah, that was Daisy, 2009.
Shit.
Wait, but
They
so
made fans wait for almost
so
a decade.
The album came out. It was like
It was
topping-
#1.
Yep, they
It was #1 on
surprised
the-
their whole fan base with an album out of nowhere. They just
came
dropped,
on
like,
the-
oh,
yeah.
here's new material.
Just dropped it out and just
Kicked
picked
ass,
up like
and then-
wildfire.
we
But then-
saw them in Jacksonville, and one
That
of
was
the
like one
last
of the last
concerts they
shows
played
that
before
they,
the news
yeah.
came out.
Yeah, we went up with
God.
Jordan and it was just like
And Raspo.
Jordan and Raspo, yeah, and we just Yeah, that was right after that is when it dropped out, like the news,
That's crazy.
and they just stopped touring. I was like, holy shit.
I think with the movement and all that stuff that's going on, that's probably like a big reason for it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Not that not that it's right or wrong,
Yeah.
but whatever, it doesn't matter. Regardless. But okay, so Brand New is one of those bands, and like
Yeah, that's what we got to. Yeah, that's what we got. That's why
Got that out of the way.
yeah, I mean, I could argue the same thing with
'cause it's
Modest
hard,
Mouse, because he was apparently like allegedly he was accused of rape. You know,
really?
And that's like fuck, like that's non-consensual sex. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying? So it's like that's even more fucked up. And I think the charges were dismissed or whatever. But it's like it's a weird question to ask. But first of all, no one's perfect. Even though that's fucking awful. But I think the main point is like, is the music good? I guess for me. You know what I'm saying?
Obviously, we're all in agreement that we're not trying to justify anything.
Yeah,
No. I definitely don't condone rape at any.
No, not at all.
But the music should
You
speak
even
for
have
itself.
to
Yeah, and
say that.
if
I know,
you
but you
listen
have
to
to.
his lyrics though too, you could totally tell he's a narcissist though.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
like
Looking
totally
back,
lets
you
it
should've
out.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true. Yeah, that's true.
But,
So he's like,
also,
hey.
also attempted murder, because in Washington, if you get into some sort of accident with another person, and you are in control, or if you are, because he was in a car with a chick, and they apparently did coke, and they got into a car accident, and she broke her thumb.
Oh.
And that was like, it was like escalated into like some sort of shit, because he was under the influence, and he was in the state of Washington, and apparently in the state of Washington, if you're driving under the influence and potentially hurt someone, it becomes like attempted murder, it's just
Wow.
Yeah, just
insane.
escalated. Yeah.
It's insane. And then so he's got that on his record, and the chick was like, it was just a thumb.
That's crazy. Yeah, I was just high as fuck on coke.
It didn't even hurt. I was so
Right.
high. So, but yeah, dude, I don't know. I mean, it does boil down to that to me. Is the music good? It is interesting. I'm gonna listen to it.
Right.
And obviously, they're not the first band that's had some controversies. Like, we've heard a lot of shit about even the band that I know you and I look up to very much, Danny, is Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
They've had some
Oh yeah.
some
Sad
strange
one.
stories
That one is
going
bad,
around
actually.
there, too.
That one's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's really bad because it's like fucking stealing. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they made millions.
Well, not just that, but
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the other stuff too, but like that, at least for me, like the music is obviously extremely important, and it's like to put them in such high like regards in terms of being creative and whatnot, and then you find
Right.
out that for example, one of their most famous songs, "Stairway to Heaven," is like super similar to that other song, and you think, I don't know what to think about this song anymore.
Right.
Like whenever I hear it now, it's in the back of my head, like fuck, dude, like that's crazy close
You
to the other
like
song.
it.
Yeah.
no one can say they don't like it. So.
Yeah, I mean, you can at least argue that it was, I guess, a better version of the other song. I don't
Right.
know.
Ew.
It's a dick's thing to say.
Shots fired in that dude's dick.
Sorry, whoever made the song first.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know that guy's name.
And he's probably dead, but Led Zeppelin totally owns that.
All right. But anyway, so
Brandon.
getting back to...
that was my big influence.
Incubus is another shared
that's what I
influence of
was saying.
ours.
Yeah, Incubus.
Nice. Incubus, yeah. I haven't really listened to either of those bands, so I couldn't, like...
Okay.
But
Oh.
she has, though. You've listened to Incubus, right?
Yeah, Incubus. I like Incubus a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's why we just finally got our first cover on them too with
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that was,
Anti-gravity.
that was super dope, by the way.
Yeah.
Great. That
Thank
was
you.
awesome.
It
That's
just
a
like
great song.
yeah, we got just like how we have our friend Kevin Krajewski,
Oh, right.
aka Juski.
He
He played the
makes that song.
the percussionist. Remember, like
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
the first
yeah.
time that we had him play with us too. You just started playing
That was really cool, yeah.
on the congas. He had a little conga
The
solo
last
and
show you went to?
everything.
Mhm, yeah.
Damn, I had some stupid bitch here. Like
Oh, yeah.
my friend came to visit me, and I'm like, God damn it, do you want to go to the show? And of course she was like, no. And I'm like, fuck you, whatever, fine. And she got here at a very inconvenient time, where if I waited for her and then drove over there,
Yeah.
you guys are probably gonna be done. So I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, it's no worries.
I
though.
hate you, by the way. If she listens to this, she probably won't. So whatever. But
Fuck you. But no, that was tight. That was super cool.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, Incubus, I've heard, like, the early stuff is very similar to, like, the Chili Peppers, so that's really all, like that's all I know about them.
They have a wide variety of genres that they
Okay.
play.
Yeah, that'd probably mean I'd
First
probably dig
couple
them then.
albums were more like funk, new metal,
Yeah.
alternative, and then they progressed to more progressive,
And they have some hard songs
alternative.
too, though.
Yeah, they still keep the hard edge. but they're a little
Where's
more poppy.
that song you covered? Where is that in the spectrum of albums?
Their second full or Yeah, I guess so.
Science.
It's
Yeah,
Science. They
yeah.
had a
Mhm.
couple of
Second.
weird albums at the start, which like one
Like,
wasn't
they're,
really
like,
considered official.
Debut one.
So it's hard to say
like
like it's their second album. But
Yeah.
Okay.
1997, they released an album called Science. That's the
Those
that's the
two
album.
albums are why why people compare them to the Chili Peppers, though.
Right.
Because if you really break it down, just like there's like I forget the names of them because it's been such a long time, but there's a few songs where they just start and you're like, what is this?
Yeah.
It's not. It's okay. That's cool. Because he doesn't sound like Anthony Kiedis, of course, because
No,
he's
he
like way
sings
better.
like way better. Yeah.
But just the instrumental, it's just like that's totally like the time signature beat, like just everything that the like Chili Peppers would do, and it's so good.
Yeah.
It's like better. I mean, they got fleas, so maybe it's not better, but it's there. It's there.
Hey,
It's nice.
Ben Kenny's no slouch.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
He's freaking great. And that drummer is no fucking joke either.
Yeah. See, I don't know them, so.
Who, Will Ferrell?
Jose Pasillas is one of my top drumming influences as well from Incubus.
Who? What's his name?
Jose Pasillas,
Oh.
Yeah,
nice.
he's amazing.
freaking awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, you
but
gotta get your.
I gotta listen to
yeah,
it
you
though
gotta-
now.
You
Yeah.
gotta get that.
Yeah.
Very
Going.
musical and melodic with his drumming style, if that makes any sense.
Like his like.
Oh, like you.
If you can, and you can tell where the influence.
Like, oh yeah, that melody. I'm gonna follow that melody instead of this guitar part.
Right.
Fuck you.
You can if you can make a drum set sing, you're doing something right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that. I definitely agree. Okay, so is that it for
we also
Combined.
have
the combined?
Got a bunch.
like Millencolin, Billy
yeah.
Talent.
Yeah, those are good
Jimmy's
ones too.
Chicken
Jimmy's
Shack.
Chicken Shack is a big influence of ours as well
Jimmy-
too.
Yeah, never
Chicken
Jimmy's
Shack?
Chicken
Not
Shack. Yeah, not
many
a lot of
people
people
our
have
age
heard,
really
yeah.
know them.
They were like
What
big
is-
kind of in the
They're older?
90s.
What
They,
is
yeah,
that?
they had
What is that?
Yeah,
they had a
that?
few hits in the 90s, but they're just a really awesome. They still play nowadays too, but
From
but
like
in
Maryland.
the 90s too, they had one album called Pushing the Salmonella Envelope, which is just from top to bottom is a fucking masterpiece in my opinion.
Really?
What kind of music is it though?
It's like
It's like hard to describe.
funky alternative.
Hard. It does
Hard.
get hard though too.
I mean, yeah, it definitely gets hard. It's hard to describe. It's
Yeah,
almost
it's-
It's hard to.
that's like our
slightly
type of
early
music that we like
Incubus-y,
is like the
if
stuff
that
that's like.
makes
How do you describe it? They play a lot of different stuff, so it's
That's
very
funny,
unique.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that's how we feel too. Like.
About the shit
Like
that we
it-
listen to.
yeah, it's like
it's
annoying
like,
just hearing the
hey,
same song
all the
over and over and
Pixies,
over
well,
again.
Yeah, I know, the one song. Well, describe what else they sound like, and I'm just like, I don't. Someone yells at you, but then he sings to you really nicely, and then he yells at you again.
And then a girl sings.
And then a girl,
Yeah.
and then a chick sings to you, and then there's a really nice like little like solo, and then yelling again, and then the song ends, and then you're just like, I don't know.
Sounds about right to me.
Nice.
If you know, you know.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know how to describe that.
It's funny that you say that with the Pixies before too. I meant to say earlier that you hear Pixies influence from us.
Yeah.
And I've told you before that I hear Muse influence from you guys.
Which I've never heard
And
them.
it's
Which
weird that we've
yeah,
been-
I don't listen to the
you never
Pixies.
listen to Muse though.
You guys don't listen to
Never heard
Muse,
Muse
No.
before,
and we
yeah.
hear those bands in each other, which
Yeah.
is kind of funny.
That is weird.
I've
man.
heard like one or two songs like "Time Is Running Out." I think it's called.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Classic.
I've heard that song, and then there's one with a really long name. I don't know.
That's right. That's,
Yeah, that's-
literally how
that's
it
it.
sounds.
They have a few of those.
It's I think it's two words. I don't know what the name of the song is, but I've heard that one too, and that's like it. And I remember when I heard that song, I was "Time Is Running Out." When I heard that song, I was like, "That's a good song. I dig that." And then I stopped listening. Like that was it. And then I don't know. I guess it's probably because I'm like really heavy. Like I play really loud.
Yeah,
And I don't
you
think
like their
people
older
are-
stuff though. They like their older stuff is really good compared to their new stuff that
Check
they have
out
out now.
Origin of Symmetry, the album right before Absolution, which was probably their biggest
Yeah.
album, or their breakthrough
That
album.
wasn't their biggest one, did
Yeah, it was their breakthrough album at least, the one that
Supermassive
got them
He took
popular.
it
Black hole,
back. He
yeah.
took it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, Supermassive was
Made
their
him
biggest.
famous
Yeah.
for some reason. Okay.
But yeah, check
But-
out the album before that.
But you guys like them though, is what you're saying.
Yes, that's another shared influence of ours.
Interesting.
for sure.
Oh, and Jimmy Eat World. You ever listen to them?
Yes.
though? You never
No.
listen to Jimmy Eat World?
No, man.
Man, we
man.
gotta
Yeah,
just
you
get together and listen to some music.
I know.
soon.
We
Yeah.
really. That's actually a good idea because yeah.
I don't think he'd like Jimmy Eats World though.
But they got
No.
some good songs.
I'm
They
sure
might
he'd
not
like-
be
Yeah, they're
But
they're
the-
more.
yeah.
Yeah, they're
straightforward pop,
Yeah.
pop rock.
Yeah, that's. I guess I'm not like super into that type of stuff. I don't know, man. Like
I know you.
yeah, you know, my
Yeah.
taste in music is like I don't know. I don't know if it's I don't know. I don't know what to say. Like I don't want to sound pretentious, but it's just like I'm way more into. weird, like if something sounds weird or wrong to me, I'm like, I like that. And not
Yeah.
wrong in like, you know, a bad sense, more like wrong like in a jazz sense. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, where'd that chord come from or something?
Yeah.
That definitely sounds pretentious.
I know, but fuck, man, I can't help it, dude. It's
Smell
just
your
my
own farts?
South Park reference.
He walks.
Smug. That's awesome. No, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just like the Pixies are probably them and the Beatles. I mean, the Beatles are my favorite band, so I guess I can't really.
Yeah, everyone gets influence from the
Yeah.
Beatles. Yeah.
I can't say like, oh, it's only like complex music, but that's because that's not true. The Beatles are not complex at all.
At times.
Yeah, I guess it's true. I guess their
But if
songwriting is complex, but like they've had, I guess. Well, I don't like their early shit, so maybe there you go.
Right.
I don't like their really
do.
poppy stuff. So.
I love their early shit.
Yeah.
It's just like the fact that most of their music isn't complex is why they're probably put into that category where you're like, no, I wouldn't call the Beatles complex. And if you're a musician, you're like, I could figure out that song in like 3 seconds. It's cool, but it's still fucking good.
True.
Like, you know, I can jam to that song, but it does make you sound pretentious.
Whatever, dude. I don't know. What
I
to
like
say.
really complex things like jazz, and then like I like the Beatles.
Well, I think one of the things that made the Beatles great is the fact that they could take complex stuff and make it sound palatable and poppy to
That's true.
the big audience, you know?
That's true. Yeah, I wonder where did that crowd go? Like the crowd that liked the Beatles, you know, like because they were like one of the biggest bands. They were like the biggest band at that time, and it's like now I feel like the music that's super popular now is just straight trash. You know?
Yeah, I don't know where we got lost along the way, but something happened.
I don't know either. It's so weird.
It's the hipsters, dude. Now it's not cool to like the Beatles, so
I don't know.
you
about
stay
that.
away from that.
I don't know about that.
Depends on who you ask, I guess.
Because I guess it would be cool to like something that's not cool. So I guess you would like the Beatles. Who knows?
I don't know.
No,
Who knows with hipsters?
I meant more of like what's popular now is like
Because it's what the radio plays.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're trying to like just push garbage out onto people.
Yeah, just the fucking basically it sounds like one guy is writing all these songs.
I mean, it
probably
could
not
be
that far
true
off.
though.
Yeah,
They're just writing songs for like Beyonce and all of them, and
I mean, it's a formula though. Once you figure out the formula, you just repeat.
yeah,
sad.
It's what people like, so let's keep doing it.
But
Yeah.
why? Okay,
they like
so
this chord change. Let's do
Yeah.
it again. Most songs in the top 20 of the
there's a
Billboard
science behind
have
it.
Sure.
this.
yeah, there literally is.
So you just
Absolutely.
repeat. You repeat.
There was that Facebook post about the country, I guess like the country songs, like pop country.
Oh yeah.
And like literally it was 4 different songs that had the same exact chord progression. I think they were also in the same key as well. The
Yeah.
only thing
So
that
it's the
changed
same song.
slightly was like a melody.
That's the video where they like layered the songs on top of one another. Yeah, I saw that.
That's fucking insane, man. I would, if I ever wrote music like that, I'll
Yeah.
fucking kill myself.
Right?
Hold you to it, man.
5 years later. I'm like, at the fucking CMA, like, oh, fuck, thank you, yo. Like, whatever, fuck that shit. Oh, stupid. Oh, god damn it.
Yeah, I know people just do it because it's easy though too. That's why I hate.
I don't know, man. That's
Some
another,
people do though.
but
I
that's
feel like.
We talked about this for a while too. Me and you, or you and I. Is it you and I? I think it's you and I. Yeah, we talked about that actually. We talked about that at Cage Brewing, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's like, you know, it's how I mean, I would only imagine that those artists, or at least the main guy, like whoever, let's, you know, I can't give you an example, but just like the guy, maybe that's the front man in the band, because I feel like most of the time the rest of the band is usually like a hire, you get what I'm saying, like they're kind of like hired guns, so it's like he must, and he's got to enjoy that, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
It'd be curious to find out. But,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, I mean, look at Coldplay. I used to love their music, man. I don't know about you guys,
Yeah, I
but
never really got into them.
Nah.
I
Me
fucking
either.
loved it, man. I thought it was great.
See, like,
I
yeah,
just
it's-
wanted to say something really mean, like, yeah, no one likes that shit,
Yeah.
Daniel.
Dude, their music, at least in the beginning, I guess it was kind of like, you know, the same shit, I guess maybe you could argue, but their new stuff is very, I guess, just modern poppy sounding. It's just not good. Doesn't, whatever. Fuck that shit.
I never got into Coldplay, man.
Yeah.
But it's all right. So, what is there any other influences? Maybe. I mean, you guys. I'm sure you both like Led Zeppelin, right?
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah. Classic rock.
We're also
as far
both
as-
hip hop fans too.
Ooh,
To some degree,
me
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what hip hop?
The Far Side's a big influence on us.
Never heard
Far
of
Side
them.
and Wu-Tang Clan are our top
Okay.
two hip-hop groups
Yeah.
that we
Wu-Tang
can always
down
listen
with
to.
J5 too.
What,
Yeah,
Jurassic
that's good
5?
stuff.
Yeah.
Ah, fuck yeah. How about Tribe Called Quest?
Yeah.
I can get into it too.
Most
I'm
definitely.
not liking that. I'm not liking
yeah,
that answer.
I know a handful of tunes, but they're not my.
It's not your forte.
Yeah, right. I wouldn't say they're my favorite by any means.
Outcast?
I
Yeah.
do like me some Outkast.
Fucking
Early
Outkast.
stuff.
What about Bone Thugs and Harmony?
I can get into it.
Yeah.
That's my
Same
shit.
answer. That was
Yeah,
the same answer.
that's
as
my
Tribe.
favorite right there.
That's
fucking Bone.
same idea. Like I don't go and listen to the albums all full way through or anything like that, but we can get down on
Yeah,
it
And
when it's
jam on
playing.
some of those
right.
Yeah.
some of those songs. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
That's
if
really
you're a
good.
musician,
Album,
yeah.
you guys should listen to that new album.
Which one?
From Tribe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've heard bits and pieces of it.
It's good.
Liked what I
It's
heard.
so good.
It's
From
really
beginning
good.
to end, like you're just like.
It's in my opinion, it's a
It's
masterpiece.
just fucking
Yeah.
amazing.
Yes, it's like
The songs are so different.
Yeah.
The songs are so different. Like.
and I feel like I know they had Jack White in on it too, which is pretty cool.
I didn't
Playing
know that.
some,
That's
some
pretty cool,
guitar
yeah.
on it, which is it was dope. And just like the beats themselves, it seems like they had like I don't know if Q-Tip wrote the majority of the beats, but it seems like it's coming from someone that's like musically like
Right,
inclined.
those are the best kind of hip hop beats.
Yeah, like
Exactly.
Kendrick, for example, Kendrick Lamar,
He's on
like a
there,
lot of
yeah.
his beats are like that, which I fucking love Kendrick, but yeah, I digress anyway.
Sure.
but yeah, so what are some of, I guess, where do you guys differ in influences then?
You want to go first?
You go first.
All right.
You wanna go first?
Where we differ, I listen to a lot heavier stuff than Tommy does. I'd say I grew up with a lot of System of a Down.
Noise.
I had
Okay.
a long metalcore phase as well,
Okay.
in which I listened to a lot of Parkway Drive and The Ghost Inside. Still two of my favorite bands. Freaking love them.
Is that like metal? Is that heavy?
Yeah, metalcore.
Okay, gotcha.
But what else would be different? I mean, I know you didn't listen to as much Black Sabbath. I mean, we have a lot of shared influences as far as classic rock does,
yeah.
but I listened to a little more Sabbath. You were a little more Aerosmith.
Yeah, I think
Type.
that's things like due to our dads though.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Pretty much his dad listened to more of that. Mine was more
That makes
poppy.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was more Eagles, Aerosmith, and I
Yeah.
was more Sabbath, Zeppelin, Floyd.
Oh, I love Floyd too.
Well, yeah, but everyone
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we
Floyd.
can't.
Yeah, everyone likes Floyd though.
So basically, like, you guys are. I guess would you say then that when you're recreating your music, would you say that you're trying to like do a take of the '60s, '70s rock that you listened to in the past, or?
In
To a
way,
degree, yeah.
Yeah, like I think what we try to do is keep it modern yet also familiar classic rock type of vibe in
Okay.
there as well.
Okay.
We try to appeal to all while
Yeah.
not appealing to anyone, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, I
Yeah.
get that. Because when I listen to your stuff, I honestly don't catch necessarily like the classic stuff. I mean, honestly, you guys do. One thing I like a lot about you guys is that you do like specific genres, like that I like very well. Does that make sense? Like for example, like you have a song that sounds almost like a pirate ship song. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
And that's like cool. Like that's what I love about some bands is that they do shit like that. And then you can have just like a kind of like a more like, I guess, what would you call that? Like a more like rock song, I guess, right? Like not like specifically that genre. And that's I mean, that's why I like you guys. Personally, like that's just that's
Same
what-
goes for you
Thanks.
guys,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah, right.
do a great mix of a lot of different things as well.
Yeah.
Like at the same time, I think it just shows the emotion that you put into the song, though. You know what I mean? Like what the mood that you're feeling. Like when I'm watching you guys too, I see like on your face too, even when you're playing,
Yeah.
the emotion of that's probably how he was feeling when he wrote that shit right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like for example, when is it the same as you with you guys that when you write the song, Tommy, do you end up singing the song typically?
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay, so then
Or
so
sometimes like we'll write parts where I'll mainly sing it, but I'll have parts for him to do his own thing and sing
Okay,
it, and
that's
then
cool.
and then we both
We have
share
switch off parts, and we do harmonies a lot as
Yeah,
well.
harmonies
so
together a
Yes,
lot.
you guys
Right for
do,
that.
which is
Yeah.
another thing we have in common.
Yeah,
No,
just-
that's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, the harmonies too. Like I've compared to 311 and stuff like that. I feel because he has
which
like
I don't see at all.
me either technically, but I've heard it from people saying, "Oh, you guys sound like 311 in Sublime,"
Really?
and I'm like, I don't hear that.
Well, Sublime didn't even have harmonies that
Yeah,
much.
but like our music style is like that.
No.
I'm like,
I agree with you,
I'm
Danny.
like, I know me
Yeah.
either.
I
I don't
I've
get that either.
I've
I
had
like
people say
Sublime
that.
a lot.
Yeah.
Like that's like up there for
like
me.
I heard
Yeah.
I showed my sister some
great
songs
band.
too, and she was like, "That I was like, what the huh?
Yeah.
Right.
That's weird.
That's weird, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, most of the time he didn't. I mean, he did his own harmonies because it was a recording. But then when
Right.
he went live, it was like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It was just him.
That's what they did.
So it's like, where are we?
That's interesting.
Maybe
though. I
it's
mean,
not the vocal thing, like you're saying.
Just
maybe
the
it's
music.
music.
For the music.
I
But I'm saying
guess.
for
But
311
still.
for the harmony, like he has the high,
mhm.
I have the more low tone. And that's like what their duo
That's what they're
dynamic
based
is.
off of. But yeah,
I
it's.
guess, yeah, that makes sense.
I find it interesting that people will like compare you to someone that you've just like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? Like, where
Yeah.
did you even get that from? Like, it's. I don't know. It's just weird to me. But I think it's what it is that this is what I think about this. I think it's people that like that music and they're trying to find in your music what they like from like
Right.
the shit that they listen to. For
That's what I was
example.
gonna say.
So
Yeah.
like for example, I love the Pixies, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like I heard the Pixies in you guys, and then you're like, well, I don't know if you like the Pixies,
Yeah,
Tommy, but
I've
Vince had
listened.
never
I listened
them.
to a few of their songs. I wasn't a big fan, but I know
Okay.
I'm familiar with them.
So
though.
basically, like then I can say like you weren't really influenced by them.
Yeah, I wasn't really
Exactly.
influenced. Yeah,
But I could hear that. I'm just like, oh, that's fucking crazy. And then you just recently like started listening to them, and you said that you thought it was pretty. You can get it.
Yeah,
right?
I see where you're coming from, and I definitely see it in you guys as well.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's what I was saying too. Like, what I was thinking is just like, well, people say we sound like Muse. We've never heard it, but then a lot of people compare Muse to like Radiohead.
Right.
So
Yeah.
there's something there, and it's just like, well, with you guys, there's Sublime, and it's like, well, yeah, he doesn't do those harmonies live, but when he does do them, it's like literally one of them is going higher, one of them is staying lower, and if that's what you're listening for, then yeah, I guess that would make sense. But otherwise, it's like, I don't. You'd have to be more specific, and most of the time, you're talking to a person who, not to sound pretentious or rude, they're not musically inclined, so they don't know how to necessarily describe
Right.
what they're thinking of. So they just say something outlandish like Sublime, and then you're just sitting there like, I don't necessarily get that. So you'd have to sit there and really think about it, and then you're like, I guess.
What you got to do is ask. They say say you sound like Sublime. You ask, do you like Sublime? Yes. Okay, then that's a compliment.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's funny, actually. I never even.
Yeah.
Wait, do you like that?
yeah.
No.
No, I hate
Oh, okay.
oh,
This
thanks.
is,
Thank you then.
Like, okay, sure.
Buy me a
Thanks.
beer?
yeah, right.
All right, cool.
That's so funny. I want to talk a little bit about because I find this like extremely interesting, at least to me, that you guys have known each other for so long, and you're both from here, right? You're both from Tampa, right?
I'm the only actual native Floridian, like out of
That's right.
our friends, pretty much.
Vince is
Bam,
from,
too, yeah.
from
Yeah.
New Jersey, right?
New York.
Yeah,
You
so
got
he's
family
gonna
in
take
Jersey,
a
though.
he's gonna take
Gotcha.
offense to that.
Yeah, and then
It's quite all right.
so when did you move here, Vince?
When I was 4.
4.
So I mean, I'm still a Floridian as well, but
yeah. And
But,
you guys
you know-
went to school together, right? You and Tommy?
yeah, since
like,
preschool.
Yeah,
What?
Yeah.
yeah,
Whoa! Holy
We
shit!
go way back.
yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
We didn't like really become like really good friends until about like 6th grade or 5th grade or so. Like when Jordan came at our school when we in like 5th grade, and
Yeah, that's another weird thing too. Is
like
like
we've
you
known
guys-
him for forever too.
Because like I met Jordan before I met you, Tommy.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that you guys all knew each other at all. Like I just like
Yeah.
thought, you know.
Yeah, it all goes pretty way back.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
so crazy to me, man. That's super cool. It to me, I feel like I'm kind of experiencing like a scene that's been here for a long time, you know. Because like for example, when I saw you guys at is it Dunedin?
yeah,
When I saw you guys there, like you guys knew so many people. Like, oh hey, what's up? And I was just like, holy shit, man! Like you guys, I mean,
yeah, that was like our old stomping grounds for open mic night. We would always go there and just test out new covers and new songs and everything. And pretty much the same bands were always there every Wednesday night. So we got to
Yeah.
know all of them. Like that's like the bands that we played with that night too.
And it helps that that's close to home, and we can bring out our family and stuff too.
Yeah, like the last band that played that night, like they've been there. We were good friends with him. And,
really,
and yeah,
even
so,
the Vivid Moxie.
yeah, the Vivid
you guys
Moxie.
know?
That, yeah, it's
Yeah, we've known them for a long time.
yeah, it's,
See,
it's,
that's crazy, man.
they would go there from open mic nights, and we would just watch each other and talk.
So you guys
Yeah.
are like cool with each other and shit.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, that's. I wish I had that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of envious of that because we don't. I can honestly say that there's no bands from Miami that I'm like, oh yeah, you know, like I'm so cool with them. You know what I'm saying? There's like maybe one guy, but even then, no,
yeah.
not even.
Even the local rapper down there, John Diddy, we always like to pay respects to him. He's been there forever too.
It's a good dude, that Diddy.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. It's interesting, like, to kind of move here, and then I'm so glad I met you guys. Obviously,
Yeah. I love your music though too, man. It's good. I'm glad that we, like, not to sound presented, like, it's hard for people to catch my eye, especially like local scene too. Like a lot of bands though, like, not to like sound like it though, but
no, you're making me smile.
Yeah.
For those I can't see.
Yeah, but like, yeah, man, you guys really stick out to like my ear. And it's
Agreed,
like,
man.
That's awesome, man.
Like you're a band that I could go see whenever you guys are posting it. It's like, St. Pete, Tampa's about 40 minute drive, but I'll make that drive to go out and see you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you have.
Yeah.
Which obviously we all appreciate very much.
Yeah,
so.
no, but I like watching you guys, man. You guys put on a good show.
All right, enough of us.
I know, right? I'm just saying, it's true though.
No, that's dope. So I guess another question. When did you guys? Yeah. So when did you guys start playing like your instruments?
I started playing. I actually didn't want to play guitar. I grew up playing sports, and then like one Christmas, my mom.
Which sports?
Like I started playing football, basketball, soccer, all when I was like 5.
Oh shit!
And like pretty much grew up until high school. I'm like so my mom got me a guitar in 6th grade when I was about 11 or so, and I remember I was like, I don't want that. Like,
why are you giving me this?
Yeah, pretty much. And then she said, no, just take a couple lessons and see if you like it or not, you know. And then if you don't like it, then I'll take it back or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, whatever. So I only took 6 months guitar lessons, and when I was like 11, and then after that I stopped going. But I liked it so much, I just kept doing it. And then that's when that's how we became good friends, because I knew that he played guitar before I did. That's funny, like even with Jordan too, he was like the original guitarist, and now he's the drummer for like everything.
I was gonna get to that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But, yeah, in the Grays, I was the lead guitarist to start, and Jordan was the drummer.
Oh,
and
really?
it was pretty much exclusively that, and Tommy was on guitar as well.
Yeah, guitar or bass, me and Joey would switch off.
Switch on the.
I assume
I'd
that
play
you
a
were
little
on
bass
drums
too.
in the Grays when you showed it to me.
Not at first. I mean, the stuff that I showed you, I was on the drums
Oh,
for.
okay, gotcha.
But in our first 2 years or so, I was strictly guitar and bass, and Jordan was strictly drums.
Yeah.
Wait, so how old were you guys when you started that band?
8th grade.
Yeah, I
Grays,
guess
7th, late
13,
7th. No,
12,
it was
13.
8th grade. Yeah, it was our 8th grade composition teacher.
Yeah.
She put the band together. Actually, it was pretty funny. Like, it's a funny story. So like back in 8th grade, like me and Vince played in like this other band. Like what?
We never played a
Yeah,
show.
we never played a show, but like it was, you know, like a young 6th, 7th grade band. And when we were first trying to get together, we were writing young, stupid songs. He wrote a song about our math teacher and shit. You know, because he had long hair and he always told him cut his hair, and that's like what it was about, basically.
Fight the power.
Yeah.
Rebel.
Right. And so like when we were in 8th grade, our teacher, she was cool, and we have to give like her total credit
Yeah,
for
thank you, Miss Uskategi.
yeah, for putting us together and like igniting the fire. Is like at the end of the year, we were putting together a showcase, like the whole 8th grade class throughout the years, like the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and like the 2000s. And so she knew that me, Vince, Jordan, and our friend Joey, she knew that we played instruments and everything like that. So she gave us the option. She's like, hey, how would you guys like to play the Beatles for the 60s? You know, just like learn a song, and if you guys can get it, you guys can play it live in front of all the parents, all the faculty, and everything like that. So we're like, oh,
Challenge accepted.
yeah. So the first song that we ever played together, me, Vince, and Jordan, and Joey, was "She Loves You."
Oh, that's fucking cool, man.
And what's funny is we have it on video.
Yeah.
And for
Jordan's
the 8th
on
grade
drums.
showcase, all of our families were there, little brothers and sisters, and they see us plugging in our guitars and basses and setting up the drums, and they're just like, these guys are actually plugging in.
Yeah,
What
you hear
hell
one
are
of
they
the
doing?
dads saying they're actually
These
plugging
little
it in.
kids, this is going to sound horrible. We might as well leave right now. And I'm obviously exaggerating, but that's, you could tell that's how everybody really felt. Then once we started with the dum she loves you, yeah, and everybody was like, oh shit, these guys are good, you know.
Was it
And
good, really?
It was.
Yeah,
We played really well.
yeah.
I mean, all things considered.
Dude, that's crazy.
We had one voice crack, but that was puberty.
we had
though,
a few
so.
voice cracks.
Dude,
But
that's
Not your
fucking.
as
fault.
13-year-olds, I mean, it was
Yeah.
all right.
That's fucking dope, man. Because you know, Kenny and I started playing with another guy who's actually coming up this weekend to record. Serge, I love you, bro. He's the guy I'm doing that other project with. But
I love you, bro.
love you, Serge. But me and Kenny and I got into music because of him. He started playing guitar first, and he was like he got us into the Beatles and whatnot, and we started playing at 15. So I honestly felt like we kind of got like a late start, and we were not good at all. So like when for example, Vince showed me the Grays, and I was like, holy shit, you guys were this young and you guys sounded this fucking good. Like it was crazy. Like I was really impressed. It was
just because we started too young.
Yeah,
had a lot of practice.
That's good though.
We sounded really bad at 13, so we could sound okay at 15.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. But that's
that's
awesome.
Practice. Nothing better to do, just play.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm doing this right, doesn't matter. Just keep doing it.
Right.
But that's really cool. I like that. I like hearing that because I feel like we might be the last generation to do that. Maybe I don't know. I wonder. I feel like I don't really hear about that. Like I don't like there's not too many bands out there now that you're like, oh, where do you guys come from? Like, oh, we were best friends in high school.
Yeah, have like a unique like backstory and everything like that.
So, or we just played in a bunch of bands and we just got together and just started a band. I feel like that's like the way it goes now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why I feel like you could tell on stage though too, like that you guys have like people have known each other for a while though. You know what I mean though, and it goes a long way with chemistry because that's why I like playing with him so much because he's like my brother even though we fight like it, but like at the same we're on the same wavelength though for the most part when we come to playing and everything like
Trust
that.
me, you guys have a very similar dynamic to me and Kenny.
Yeah.
Like for sure. Like me and Kenny have fought.
Yeah. Well, that's inevitable though.
Yeah. I mean, we've been good now, but we're such like we have. It's weird because I'm sure it's the same with you guys. We have such like similar things, but then like we have such different things about each other. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe like personality wise and whatnot. Like
sure.
Yeah, we. It's weird. It's a weird thing to like. I guess to kind of like have in a relationship, you know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
Yeah, but that's what I think at the end of the day, though, is that's what makes that music unique, though, is because it's two different worlds. It's like a yin and yang coming together, making it instead of like I was saying, like it's just one person doing it. Yeah,
I agree. I totally agree with that. Yeah, I think that having even if it's I don't know if the negativity necessarily helps. It probably doesn't, but. It at least puts things out on the table, so you guys are kind of forced to communicate, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, resolve the issue,
Yeah, exactly.
But I was just thinking it's just like where, if you're a writer in a band, I'm sure that there are moments where you're like, I'm stuck. This sounds exactly the same, like the last thing I wrote. But then you present it to your band, and then, like, they are the ones that kind of take it and twist it, and you're just like, I don't know what you guys did, but that works, and let's play this song now. And it's just like it just works. It works like that. Like, it doesn't let you get into your head too much. Like, you're there and I'm writing music because I want to write music, whatever it may be, because in my opinion, like, if you wrote songs and you did everything, it would definitely sound a way. Just like if Kenny wrote songs consistently and put them out, and he wrote everything, played everything, it would sound the same. It just makes sense that would happen. But you have other, like you guys were saying, other worlds, other people that come in and just like, well, I kind of hear it like this. Let's drag this part a little bit longer, or I'm putting an accent here instead of there, and it's just like it completely changes the feel of the song. So it works.
That's why, like I was saying, I feel like once everyone's a good songwriter, that's what makes a good band.
Right.
If everyone is a songwriter.
Definitely.
Not just like one or two, though,
Yeah.
Is that the case with you guys? Is Mark writing songs as well?
He doesn't. Well, we write the songs, but I like to present it and have them put their.
Okay.
So
he's great to bounce ideas off.
You don't write parts for them.
No, not like like the way I like to write is if I have like an acoustic guitar, and I just like to write like basically like the backbone, like that, and then I like them to be like the external limbs to branch off on.
I was actually going to ask you about that. So, how does a song come to you? Like, for example, like, do you mess around on the guitar
a lot
first?
of drugs. No, I'm joking.
Smoke a lot of pot.
Shooting up a lot of heroin.
Yeah, a lot of
It's the only way.
Captain and Coke,
Because it's like like Kenny. Like the process that I have with Kenny is very different. Like I write way different than he writes. So how is it with you guys?
It takes like the one of our newest songs that we wrote, 147. I wrote that like when I was 19, and I like didn't fully finish it until maybe like 3 years ago.
Okay.
And then like I like
Pretty much just the guitar though.
Yeah, just the guitar, just my. But I had like a way how I wanted it to sound a little bit. Like if like Zach is like, "What do you want me to play?" And I'll be like, "Oh, just make it this kind of feel."
Yep.
And that's all I'll tell him. Just make it that feel, and then just do you.
That's what I do too. Yeah.
And he's all right, and then he plays what he does. And I'm like, that's exactly what I was envisioning. You know.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much it. I'll just write the guitar and have a feeling for like the rest of it, and I'll just be like, "Hey, Vince, this is like the feel that I want you to do for this drum. Remember, like this song from Brand, like play it like this song." And then he'll just be, "Oh, I know exactly what you mean," and then he'll put his little own twist onto it and everything.
Yeah. With that song, we kind of collabed on the bass line a little bit. We got together and said, well, this kind of works here. This doesn't really work here. Let's do this here. And
yeah, that's the one thing about
mapping stuff out.
Bass. Mark is a good bassist, but he's so busy, so he tells us to write his bass parts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's not to say he hasn't come up with some cool ideas.
He does. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's told us though too. That, like before he got in the band, he's like, "I'm a busy dude. If you write my bass parts, I'll."
That's fine. Well, that's good though.
Yeah,
I'll make something cool. I'll play it.
Yeah.
That's great though, because honestly, there's some people. I mean, I think even us that we've played with, because we've had we've been vacant without a bass player for a couple times actually. Like we had to kick one out, unfortunately. I'm not gonna say his name, but I love you.
Yeah. That's why I'm grateful for like Mark doing that though too. He's good at learning it too. Like he's a fast learner at it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he even says he just doesn't have that type of mind to just like think of something like that and come up on it on his own. Like he's like,
Like on the spot,
yeah,
basically,
he's like, my mind doesn't work like yours, so like just you guys do it. And he's a good retainer though,
That's
so he just
good.
learns it.
It works. It's a balance.
Yeah.
That's good.
Like,
Nah.
fine, we'll write it. Can you get it fast enough? You can. Great.
Yeah, exactly. And he does a good job at doing it though. The bass parts aren't like necessarily that easy too. Like we basically taught him how to play guitar back in high school, and that's.
Yeah, we might as well get to that
Yeah.
now. The Grays was originally a 4-piece, as we said with the 8th grade showcase thing we did. Tommy, Jordan, Joey, and myself. After a while, we decided we wanted to expand our sound a little bit by bringing in a third guitarist.
Yeah,
And guess who that
Makes
was?
sense.
That was Mark.
It was Mark.
Yeah, he became like the more of the rhythm, and then so like if Jordan wanted to play piano, I could play lead,
Right.
and then he has the rhythm right there, so it makes it a little bit more full.
So for the last like 2 or 3 years that the Grays were playing and stuff, Mark was also with us.
That's interesting. That's cool. So going back to that, like that's good, because it would suck to have someone that was immature to the point where they're getting upset at the fact that they're not creative enough to learn or to make something, and also getting mad at the fact that you guys are trying to present something to them. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's good because he does that, and then he's also a good mediator. If we're fighting, we ask him. Like he's like the dad, you know what I mean? Though.
Okay, yeah.
He's the old one, so.
I think this sounds good. He thinks this sounds good. What do you think sounds
Yeah,
good?
and then he'll put his 2 cents in, and then we'll be like, oh, all right, we'll try it that way.
That's interesting. That's I don't think I've ever talked about that. Like band dynamics, like how things work. But you still haven't answered my question though. How do you come up with a song? Like literally, like how is like what's the process? Give me the process.
We're both different in that sense. You go first. I mean, similar but different.
Yeah, like I like to have like the basic structure, like the same type of structure, but like like how you have an intro, the verse.
But
like,
so you write. So I'm saying, like, do you think of a melody first, or
yeah,
do you like?
I come up with. Well, it depends. It depends on the song, I guess.
Yeah, so it might be different then.
Yeah, like sometimes I'll just have a guitar and just fuck around with it, and then like I'll just be like, oh, that sounds cool,
Okay.
like chords wise,
Yep.
and then I'll just progress with that, and then possibly right on top. But lately now, I've just been trying to just do rhythm, and then I just want to like have like other people's opinions on like what like what cool riff would sound cool there though.
Yes.
Because I just want to mainly focus on the rhythm, structure, and like the lyrics or like the way how to sing it. Because that's the thing. I don't want to write too much when I'm writing a song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just want to write enough to present it to them, and then let them do their thing.
Yeah. No, and I think that's good. I think that's like super healthy. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Yeah.
And that's kind of where we differ, I think, because
He wants to write
me being a drummer
the whole
as
thing.
well as a guitarist and a bassist. I kind of don't bring songs to the table unless they're like
fully
close
done.
to done
Yeah.
with the
Like with everything. you
bass,
mean.
drums,
Oh, really?
harmonies, lyrics, guitar.
He's more
even
anal.
lead guitar stuff.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
perfectionist to a fault.
Yeah. I mean, like when I first started playing with Jordan, like you and Jordan would, like, which is funny because it's technically his band, but you and Jordan would be like the big figureheads in the band, like kind of in it.
Right.
The good thing about him is that he let you
decide on a lot of things as well.
Right, that comes with time.
Yeah, for sure.
chemistry.
No, and obviously trust as well. So
Right.
Makes sense. But no, that's I mean, I don't think there's I don't think there's anything wrong with that per se. I mean, I don't know. I mean, is that how you want? Like, is that how you envision continuing to create music? Or
Not necessarily. I mean,
Yeah.
that doesn't say that's how I do it for every song too. Because we've collabed on a lot of songs ourselves. I've had things where I need some help to finish, or I don't have a bridge for this, or I need a melody. Somebody give me a hand with that or something. But usually when I'm putting a song on the table, it's 95% complete.
Done. Yeah, interesting. How about you then? How does it come to you? Do you hear it in your head, or do you play something first?
Usually play something. I'll hear a chord progression. I'm like, oh, I like how that chord runs to this chord. What can I do in between as a bridge?
Okay.
If I have one little riff, sometimes I'll sit on it for years and then get back to it and like I don't know what to do with it, but I'll mess with it again and see what I can come up with years later. And two of my most recent songs that I finished were from years back. I just had a riff in my phone that I revisited.
Really, that's great. When you're writing all the parts, then like, do you record it usually, or do you just kind of think of it in your head?
I have thousands of voice memos in my phone.
Okay. Yeah.
And I go back to them. Some of them I work on right away. Some of them as I said, find 4 years later or something.
That's funny. I do that too. I'm not gonna lie.
I can do something with this.
Right.
Yeah. I don't have that many, but I usually go through like spurts of not writing for a while.
Same.
And then if I do that, and it's not on purpose, it just happens because of life. Like, for example, we just moved into this house, so it's taking a lot of time away from me.
Nice digs, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, no, I lied. It's tight. It's tight. but yeah, when I sit down and I write something, I do, and I've had this discussion a lot with Kenny, is that I typically feel like my best songs are usually written in my head first.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be in the shower, and I'll come up with it then, and then that's the song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sometimes like I'll have something that comes to my mind, like I'll have a lyric, just one line come to my mind.
That's never happened.
You hadn't.
That's so cool though.
Literally, like for Stablu, for the as the years go by, I hope you will find. That part came. I was just like 18, 19 years old. I remember I was taking out the trash in my apartment complex. And I just threw it out, and I turned around, and it just popped in my head. I was like, "Oh, damn, I like that!" And I just like recorded it, and then I wrote the song.
Cool.
About the
start from that.
The Fred bass line story.
Yeah, oh yeah, the Fred bass line story. I came up with that bass line while I was taking a shit.
The best time.
Yeah, I was just shitting, and I just started just singing a bass line. I was just going doo 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 doo, and I was just like, "Oh shit, I like that." So I came up right after that. After I washed my hands.
You didn't grab your bass.
Yeah, I know.
Good.
I had shit covered hands.
Right?
I touched my bass.
Grab my bass.
Threw it away shortly afterwards.
So just like for Meatball and Teambo Baby, what do you think?
Yeah, we
Remember
might as well
that was
introduce
that was at Blockbuster.
Yes, that's right. We for those of you who don't know, we have a
For those of you that
alter
don't
ego.
remember Blockbuster,
Yeah.
There's probably more of that.
right?
We have a acoustic hip hop alter ego of
Yeah.
us two called Meatball and Teambo, which you should keep
that's
an eye
our
out for
yeah,
eventually.
that's our hip hop side. You know how I said
We have
we
a
like
few-
hip hop.
Right.
So is that coming out soon? Is what you're saying? Is that your
no,
what you're
eventually,
hinting
not
at?
anytime
Eventually we
soon.
want to, but yeah.
That's funny.
When the
Jordan
time's right.
played with us on that, so he plays drums for it.
Oh, nice. That's cool, man.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, for one of those songs though, we were at Blockbuster. Like when they were going out of sale, we were buying a shit ton of DVDs. Remember, and when they were all on sale,
Yeah.
and we were standing in line, and I just like came up, and I was just like, "Baby, what do you think about me?" And he just like Vince just turned around. He's like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "I don't know, dude. It just came to me." He's like, "All right," and then we went back.
And then we walked back to your place,
we went
and we
back.
were singing it the whole time, we were doing harmonies.
Yeah.
They were just like, "Oh, this is gonna be badass," and that's where it all stemmed from.
Yeah, and then that whole song is very.
Vulgar?
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I feel like that. And I wouldn't say I'm envious of that per se, but it's more of like that's cool to hear that that I guess you guys are obviously being friends and whatnot, like that you guys have like moments like that where you guys can literally just start singing something and then just come up with stuff like that. It's just, that's neat. That's kind of like the story I'd like to hear. You know what I'm saying?
It's like Sugar Cookie. You remember that song that we played? That was the last song.
Yep.
That's
and
what,
you said that. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened for that song too. We were all enjoying an evening, above the clouds.
Nice.
Yeah, and
And
it was,
I wanted to get something to eat, and
we
so
were
I
all-
had this
yeah, we-
box of sugar cookies.
we were in my kitchen, and there's a bunch of us there. You were there, Jordan was there, and I remember I was just sitting there, and you asked for something in the freezer. I only
That's
had like
right.
one like ice cream thing left. And he's like, "Can I get that?" I'm like, "Nah, man, I really want to eat that later, dude." And then I like a bunch of sugar cookies, but I'm like, "But you could take a sugar cookie." And that's all I said. And then all of us started going, "Sugar cookie, take a sugar cookie. You can take a sugar cookie." And then we stemmed, and then we wrote a song, and that song actually got a compliment saying that he's like, "Oh, you guys are like the Neil Diamond of that genre." I was like, "What?"
I just wanted a sugar cookie.
Yeah.
But you like Neil Diamond, though,
Yeah,
right?
right? Right.
That's funny.
Yeah, so that's pretty much how all of Meatball and Teambo's songs came to life. Like, I like the way you work that. That's our friend Keith
Yeah.
used to say that all the time. He was like, "I like the way you work that." He looked like Tiger Woods and Obama mixed,
That's
and he had like this
hysterical.
nerdy voice, just
I'm
like,
not gonna lie.
looks
Before
like-
you said that's
Yeah.
exactly what I thought he looked like.
yeah, that's what he would.
I like
And,
the way you do.
and we would play like we would just be playing like Mario Kart, and so like if you would put like a nice banana placement down, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
Say that.
like if I was ahead of him and I was anticipating where he was going, I'd drop a banana and I'd fuck him up with it, and he'd be like, "Oh,
I like the way
nice
you work
move!
that."
I like the way you work that."
Absolutely hysterical.
So then,
So good.
so we turned that was like his catchphrase. So we turned that into a song about like me, him, and Vince rapping about big butts.
That's awesome. I like the way you work.
Yeah.
That's good.
So
That's
that,
fucking funny.
that song is
That's
just all about butts
hysterical.
too, and it's hilarious.
Have you guys gotten him a shirt with that on it?
I know.
Oh, we need to
should.
send him
You
one.
should make
We
that
got
as like
to.
that should be viewers like you merch.
It should. I
Right.
like the way you work that with Keith's
You're right.
face right on
That
it.
would be
Exactly.
really
That's
fun.
hysterical. That's awesome because that's really funny. You could use that in so many places.
Yeah, I like
Just
the way you
life.
work that.
True.
Just
Yeah.
life. That's so good.
Good old
So
Keith.
funny.
Yeah, that was one of my missions. I wanted to make Keith famous for that song, but it never happened.
Well,
yet.
there's still time.
Yeah, I
There's
hope
still
so.
time.
I
There's
hope
There's
so.
still fucking time.
Maybe the return of Meatball and Teambo is sooner than we think.
Yeah, right.
Why not, man? Shit. But what was I gonna? Oh, okay. So you guys, so this is the first recording that you've ever done with viewers like you.
Yes and no. We did a
Yeah.
really
Like crappy. Well, not
nothing-
crappy,
yeah.
but
nothing against Jordan, but at the time we weren't very experienced with recording,
Mm-hmm.
and
it
we
was just
did
the three of us.
actually we can take the credit for the crappy sounding drums because we did that ourselves.
Yeah.
Jordan did the best that he could, so not knocking him. We recorded a 4 or 5 song, 5 song
Five, yeah.
demo EP thing in 2014 that didn't sound great.
was
It didn't sound
2013,
horrible. It was
dude.
2013.
Well,
We
end of
released it early 2014. I
Yeah.
think we recorded it late
That was
2013.
a long time ago.
But yeah, it was 5 of our earliest tracks, and they sounded okay, but they didn't sound great. So we don't really want to like go out of our way to put that up. And
Yeah,
get
they'd be
that,
pushing
yeah.
that out there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
we're
You have a lot
re-recording
of
all that
We
stuff.
should exchange that.
Yeah.
We should send you our crappy stuff.
We did.
Right.
We did the same thing, man. I mean, we didn't. I wish we would have done it on our own at first, but we didn't. We went into a studio, and the first recording we had was like when we were like 16. It was before she even joined. I was playing. Oh no, we switched. This is when we used to switch on the instruments. So Kenny would play drums, I would play drums, and the other guy would play drums at some point.
I had no idea Kenny drummed.
Yeah, well, he doesn't do it very often now, but he used to. Yeah, like there was a point where, yeah, like I said, we were just switching on him. So he would play some songs on the drums. The other guy would play songs on the drums. I would. It was we thought that was really cool.
That's
Sounds
what
like
we
the
did.
Grays.
Yeah,
We
because
did the
I
same
used to
thing.
play drums on the Grays too for a bit.
feel
Jordan,
like-
me, Jordan,
That's
and
not cool.
Vince.
It's not that it's not cool. It's just that it's not conducive to a flow. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, like if you should
You have to be
get
like
the
really on point. For
Yeah.
that to
At
go.
the end of the day, you got to put yourselves in the best position to sound the
For
best
sure,
you
for
can.
sure.
Yeah,
You're
unless
not
you
gonna
guys
put-
are like all really good at that instrument.
That's what I was
Right.
gonna say. Like, unless you're all just as good as like on all the instruments, it could work and it would sound really different because each of you are different at those instruments. But I totally get it. It's like you wouldn't put your striker as a goalkeeper,
Right.
And you
Yeah.
would put your goalkeeper as a striker.
As
right?
fun as
So
it might
just,
be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
everyone play your positions, bro.
And people told us that too. I remember early on, they were like, "Yeah, you guys should probably stick to something." And then we did, and then the guy left, and then, yeah, I mean, we had a hard time finding a bass player until we found Emmett. So, yeah, that was kind of
Good
a
old
blessing.
Emmett.
Yeah, that fucking piece of shit.
that dirty whore.
That dirty whore. Fucking hate him. Fuck you, Emmett, you piece of shit. You've never even been on this podcast yet. Fuck you.
For all of us, Emmett, we still love you.
I love you, Emma. Fucking piece of shit.
But so I mean, are you guys kind of have you guys kind of given a date on when you're planning on
I
releasing?
thought you were gonna
this?
ask something so much.
Yeah. We're planning on dating.
Have you ever planned on dating, Emmett?
We've tried a lot of things. We haven't tried that yet.
Yeah,
You
no,
guys
no,
thought about giving each other the dick.
Have you guys ever had
no.
sex with another man?
no. But yeah, we don't have a date per se for it yet, but we want to.
First single will be out ASAP.
Yeah.
Nice.
In the next 3 months tops, I'd say.
Okay.
I want
But,
it
don't
sooner
quote me
than
on
that,
I mean,
man,
I'm saying tops.
Who's
Yeah.
doing the mixing?
We're gonna send that
decided
out
yet.
probably.
Okay.
Yeah, who do you-
Working on that.
Do
Just
you
gonna
guys
get the recording
have
done first.
any idea? Like,
There's been some names thrown around, but
gotcha.
haven't really decided yet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
the
it's
full
a-
thing.
That's a scary. I feel. Well, recording is obviously scary as well. But like putting your song into the hands of someone that I don't unless you know their work.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's scary
Right.
to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then,
And when we're just doing the one single to start, and we're also going to release that as part of a full album down the road, we want to make sure we're putting it in the right hands
Yeah.
from the get go.
yeah.
Mhm.
And then like I guess it would be better. I feel like at this point for anyone in reality to do it with someone that's not going to charge you, for example, for like a taste of what they're going to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's too many studios like that right now.
I wouldn't imagine so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know how like fond Jordan is of mixing. I'm not because I know like for his own stuff he doesn't necessarily do too much of it.
No, I mean he's tried to do some mixing with past stuff that he's released, but it's always best to send it off.
Yeah,
Unless
especially
you know
if
someone who can do it.
yeah, someone that can do it way better than you for sure. Yeah, I agree.
Are we talking about mixing and mastering two different things, right?
Right.
Yeah, mastering is I would never put that into the hands of myself unless I like had like years of practice. But yeah, because that's the one thing I don't like fucking around with. But mixing, I like to mix a lot. So I tend to. Well, we did that. Me and Kenny had a big part of
That's
it
good.
in our album of doing that. So.
And
Yeah.
it sounds great. Props to you.
Thank you, sir. Took us like a year, but yeah.
I remember when you told me that because I'm like, who'd you send it off to mix it to? And you're like, oh, it was us. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
No
yeah,
way.
Kenny's like really good. Like he actually like kind of like looked up like how things should be mixed. You get what I'm saying? Like he read like kind of like not necessarily a book on it, but he just like looked
He
up.
did his research.
Right.
He did his research,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah, and he's very like he's a smarty pants McGee face, so he was like, oh yeah,
First thing I'd say about him.
Smarty pants.
Smarty
Yeah.
pants McGee face, yeah. But yeah, he looked all that shit up, so he would just try to explain to me like, oh, you don't want these frequencies
Wait, you have
here.
to pinch your nose.
Well, like,
It doesn't sound like that. It does not sound like that.
well, you got to make sure the compression is.
Compression on your nostrils?
You want it at a certain decibel. But yeah, he did that, and then I kind of focused more on like volumes and pannings and like effects and stuff like that. And so yeah, that was my addition to it. But anyway,
I wish you would have had a better drum set. Like I now get mad when I listen back to the song, so I tend to not listen to them.
Oh.
But you know, it's fine.
yeah, that's the thing too. It's like you. It's cool that you got like for example like Dan is you guys kind of know Dan already. We didn't really know anyone, and we've done stuff before with other guys, so it was like I was just like at the point where I'm like, okay, I'm tired of putting this into the hands of someone else. I'm gonna just do it. Let's just do it on our own and see how it went. And I mean, I think it came out okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked
think-
it. Sounds good, man.
That's all. I'm not even gonna go further on it. If you guys think it sounds good, I'm happy. I don't care.
We've talked about this
Yeah.
before too. It's like sometimes it's just better to take it into your own hands, like because you can pay top dollar for a service that may or may not please you at the end of the day.
Yeah, and we did that. We've been through that.
Yeah,
Like,
same
Yeah,
here.
same here. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
I'm
I
not
think
gonna-
everyone goes through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to invest more, like for example here, and buying some better equipment for that, so that we can have better quality or what and whatnot. But yeah, it's gonna be a process,
For
regardless.
sure. Yeah, I mean, just to think you can hand your stuff to like the guy who produces Beyonce. And then
Right.
he'd probably give
Which
us...
we know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't even saying about that. I'm just saying
Yeah.
you'd hand him the song, and then he'd hand it back to you, and then you'd be like, this is absolute shit. And not because it doesn't sound good, but because this is not the way I wanted this to
Right.
sound, and that's just how that works.
Exactly.
Like when we're talking about mixing, producing, mastering, it's like someone could really make your song or like break it,
Yeah.
Right.
like literally.
Yeah,
like,
just literally take a shit on it,
and then hand you a CD with feces on it.
And then you paid for that. You get what I'm saying? It's
Exactly.
Like I
You
just
still
paid for
gotta
you.
pay.
Yeah, and it's like,
Oh,
fuck,
this
man.
sounds really bad. Give
Yeah.
him his $100, dude.
It'd be
Yeah,
nice
right.
to find a studio that was. I mean, I understand where like you put all that time into it, and then for them to just be like, I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? And then not make the money. But fuck, dude, like that's such a. I don't know. I digress. I don't want to continue talking about
Man, I was-
as you guys are like in that process right now, probably like, fuck.
We're lucky enough to have a really good drum engineer in Daniel. He really
Yeah.
knows what he's doing,
That's good.
and Jordan knows what he's doing with the
And you know
guitars.
them.
Obviously, of course,
You
exactly.
trust them.
yeah,
That's like
exactly.
the main
I really appreciate it all too. What they're doing, it's
Yeah.
really
Yeah, Jordan.
the work.
I do find myself wanting to work with him on that spectrum of like recording and stuff like that because I would trust him too. Like he wouldn't put out anything shitty, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Mhm.
you guys are definitely. I feel like you're in fucking good hands. So yeah, that's good. That's good
Hope
to know.
so.
Do you have a
Think so.
name for the album or for what? I don't
We've
know what
tossed
you're
some
calling
ideas
it.
around.
Yeah,
I kind of want
he
it to
just
be
wants to be
self-titled.
self-titled, but
I think that's only fitting.
Viewers like you.
yeah,
but
I don't know.
but I'm not attached
That's
to
not
it.
bad. That's not bad at all.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want to like just have it self-titled for your first album.
What are you thinking?
I don't know. I have
just
no
don't
idea.
know?
Yeah, I just don't know yet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bands that have done that.
Yeah,
Right.
no.
Yeah. That's the other thing
It's
that's
just
making me
dirty.
kind
It's
just
of on the
dirty.
fence about it.
That's why I'm
I
like,
think it
I'd
just makes
rather
it look
have.
cool. You're like, I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Call it
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Right.
And then your second band, second.
Yeah. I just want to be like, just I don't know.
Well,
Right,
do you have
exactly.
do the songs have any type of cohesiveness? Like
Yeah.
cohesiveness in terms
Yeah,
of
the-
like lyrics and whatnot.
The lyrics all tend to pretty much make sense together. Like
Okay.
they all
a mix.
a mix, but for the most part, we have like a similar message though.
What would that be?
You want to say it?
Sure. Why not? We try to brainwash people to think for themselves.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
You have
That's
to
cool,
You have to
actually.
brainwash them to think for themselves.
That's actually
Right.
really fucking cool.
Play
I mean,
into
you can definitely get a good fucking title out of that.
TV programming type deal.
Yeah,
you
because
know?
it's like we like to try to put fun music out there, but like once you listen to the lyrics though,
That's really
you're just
cool.
like it makes you think about shit.
Yeah, I can't.
just like,
I'm not gonna
fuck.
lie. Like, I don't know your lyrics.
Yeah.
For me personally, I don't even know like a lot of Radiohead's lyrics, and that's my favorite band.
Mhm.
But I'm not like a lyric guy. I'm more of like a melody, like music.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff,
And so then we'll just subliminally, like, subliminal
Right.
message
yeah,
that
but
shit in your head.
a lot of people are not like that though. So
Yeah.
that's
True.
so cool. Like for example, like she's not like that at all.
Yeah,
Like,
she has to read the lyrics
she
and
likes
everything.
the lyrics a lot. Like
Yeah.
she likes to pay attention a lot to that.
Because
Yeah.
of Modest Mouse.
Yeah, we like to try to make the lyrics just as important as the music.
That's. I mean,
that's
we
why-
do the same.
yeah.
We do the
Yeah.
same. I don't happen to follow them. But like for example, Kenny doesn't even know my lyrics.
Yeah, really. Yeah, well, there's some where I don't even know
Yeah.
completely what he says on
Same.
some of them.
Back
Yeah.
at you.
Even though when I'm doing harmonies on the same song, though, too,
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
like, oh, what does he have
exactly,
to say here?
Yeah. You
That's
gotta
so-
remind them many times.
You know, like those exact words are just.
Yeah, just it's pretty much those words that I have
Yeah.
to say, and then
Exactly.
when I'm not singing them.
Or you sing something completely off, and I'm just like, how?
Yeah.
That's
notes were fine,
the lyric.
okay? The
Yeah,
notes
as long
were
as it
fine.
sounds all right and no one can tell.
Well, that's cool. Then you guys have So the album is cohesive, and I mean, I feel like that shouldn't be too hard to figure out like a name for it. Then
That's
Yeah.
why I think the self-titled works, because it plays to the
I
TV
see what you're
programming
saying,
type
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I
get what
know,
you're
but
saying.
like,
But we also have another. I mean, that's one side of our music. Probably about half of the stuff is kind of that type of waking you up to the issues in the world and trying to wake yourself up type thing. I guess. I might be playing it too far right now.
No,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
But the other side of our lyrics are more like introspective type thing, like looking.
Inward,
Yeah, right. I
like
mean,
like heady shit.
yeah, thinking about your own flaws, your personal flaws, and
Yeah.
moving past them and making a better self as far as progressing as a person. And then the other half of our stuff is more making a better world type thing, or also pointing out problems of.
yeah, Yeah, for the most part.
That's cool. I would
Didn't put
I
it
would
very elegantly, but
I would. You guys are probably similar in that sense, where your lyrics then are. You guys like think about it,
Well,
right?
I like to tell kind of more of a story in certain stuff. He doesn't really like to do that.
I kind of like
just shove
I'm
it
pretty
down your
straightforward.
throat. Yeah, shove it down your
Gotcha.
throat. Like
Yeah.
like 147 is a story. Like it's it's not really a story, but it's like a song. Like no one's probably seen. You never seen Bulletproof, have you?
Bulletproof.
With Adam Sandler and Damon
No.
Wayans. Yeah, see,
No.
no one's fucking ever seen
a
that.
lot
Oh
of
wait,
people
no,
have.
yes I have.
You
It's
have?
an old movie from
Yeah.
the '90s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have, but a long time ago, long time.
Yeah,
ago.
like that. Just like the premise of like how he's an undercover cop.
I forgot there was a cat behind me.
There's
He scratched my arm.
Yeah.
Another little buddy.
Another
All of a
victim
sudden,
to
a
the
paw
cat.
just came out and touched me.
This is like the second.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, sorry.
Pam, I will fucking murder you.
He's not gonna do anything.
Yeah, I'll fucking kill her.
You're not.
But you were saying, sorry, that Pam interrupted you.
Yeah, well, like that's what I'm saying. Like I wrote
She's so
a song based. Well, that movie pretty much like inspired me to write about how, like, you can't really trust everyone though.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, 'cause he thought it was his best friend, but he's an undercover cop.
Yeah, so if I'm correct, the premise of the movie was that Adam Sandler was trying to run away from the police, right?
Yeah, he was a drug dealer,
That's right.
and then Damon Wayans was an undercover cop, and he
yeah.
became like Adam Sandler. Yeah, well, Adam Sandler thought it was his best friend.
That's right.
And he was just trying to get to the kingpin.
Yeah.
And then once they like had an altercation, Adam Sandler accidentally shot him in the head, and then like he thought that he shot him in the head on purpose. So that's the whole movie. But
Yeah, I remember. I remember that movie. That's like, isn't that like one of his like early movies
Yeah.
too? Yeah.
yeah, I like writing stuff like that though, like about like, oh shit, like not everyone is who you think they are though.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
kind of that type of shit too.
I mean,
though.
I would have to say that a lot of, at least my shit is like that as well. Like, I mean, our album is titled Alienation for
Yeah.
a reason. You know what I'm saying? It's because like the one thing that Kenny and I at least like have in common is that we're both very like introverted and we're both very antisocial. So it's like a lot of our lyrics have to do with being alone, and
Yeah.
I don't mean like being alone, like for example, I'm obviously
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
relationship, but just like more of like mentally. like,
yeah, I know. That's why I like to try to focus on too for more lyrics. Is like, I feel like everyone's felt that way.
yeah.
And
most people probably.
yeah, and that's why I like to try to like focus on lyrics that talk about that type of thing. But like, hey, I feel alone too. So if you're listening to this and you feel
You're not the
alone,
only one.
so
Yeah.
you shouldn't feel that alone. So
Right,
because
yep.
we're both feeling alone. So therefore, I mean, I know
There's
it's
more than
depressing.
one
Yeah,
person feeling alone.
yeah, exactly. So I am alone. I feel alone. I know what you mean. So you're not alone. But so I hope this makes you feel better. You know,
Right.
Like
We
that-
want to make stuff that resonates with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's how can I say this? Because like, okay, so Radiohead, for example, I don't understand a lot of what he says, but the music, like I kind of like understand the music. Like, the way that the music sounds to me is I get that feeling like he's the way he's playing or making songs is like he feels that way, like he's like alienated and stuff like that. But I feel like it's nice to have a band that not only does the music sound like that sometimes, not all the time, because you would say like experimental is probably more out there than pop music or whatever, but that the lyrics kind of represent that. You get what I'm saying? So like they can not only do the lyrics, not only are the lyrics saying this, but also the music behind it is also like representing that as well. And I don't really know besides maybe Modest Mouse and the Pixies maybe, but even then, like I feel like a lot of their lyrics are like you have to interpret them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why you got to listen to Brand New though.
Yeah, I definitely
Yeah,
recommend.
They,
I would say,
especially
like-
their newest album,
I'll
Science
have to check
Fiction.
them out, man.
And I would say Radiohead is a lot better at that. But I think it just comes down because Tom York is okay with being considered another instrument than necessarily a vocalist.
Yeah.
Where
Good
it's
way of putting it.
yeah, where I feel like Brock wants to be heard.
Like his
Like
lyrics.
what he's saying needs
Yeah.
to be heard. Where Tom is like, no, lower my volume probably. Put more effects and make me sound even weirder.
Yeah.
I don't care. And then when you happen to look into the lyrics, you're like, that's really funny that How to Completely Disappear literally talks about how I don't want to be here. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of
Yeah.
goes in like hand in hand, and it's just
Good example, actually.
It makes it even better.
Yeah,
you know?
when a band can capture the vibe that you're going for with the lyrics as well as the music at the same time, that's when you got a really good song.
Yeah.
The lyrics, the music, and the vocal part, it's of the melody itself. It's just like it all works. And
Yeah, it's got to be like one living organism
exactly. You kind of get lost, and it's like the ball of fuzz, man.
together.
Yeah, and I feel like the only time that the like let's say like you have like a really happy song but the lyrics are like really negative.
I was about to say
that's
that.
what I like doing though.
But that's the thing though, you do that on purpose
Yeah.
with that knowledge, and then when someone like reads those lyrics, they're like, they did that on purpose. It's not like it wasn't an accident, for example. It's not like
Yeah.
you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's cool too.
Yeah, like the Smiths.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The Cure.
Do you guys like the Smiths?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I fucking love the Smiths, man. Holy shit.
That's
man,
their-
you
that's
guys
their
are
whole
probably
vibe
like
there, too.
Radiohead, dude. Fuck.
Yeah, I listen to Radiohead every
Yeah.
now and then.
The
you probably dig
Smiths
'em.
are brand new's
Favorite band.
biggest
for
influence.
real?
Yeah,
So
and
if you
so-
like them,
Oh,
check them
Radiohead
out.
likes the Smiths a lot too.
Yeah.
Damn,
Yeah.
I really need to check out Brand New.
Yeah,
Fuck.
like Jesse like, looked up to Morrissey.
Oh wow.
Like that was
That
his
could be
favorite
good
band.
and bad.
I know,
Could be
but
good.
I know, right?
Damn.
Could probably why he ended up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can kind of see the
Could be.
narcissism and shit like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I gotta check them out then. Have you guys listened to the Talking Heads at all?
I have.
My dad was a big Talking Heads fan, and he really has tried to get me into them. I know a handful of songs, but I hate to say that I don't know as much as I should.
You should check them out, man. I feel like you might dig them because they're
Yeah.
they're like a weird vibe. What do I say? Like they're 70s alternative music. Does that make sense? Like
They were more 80s though, right? Late 70s.
That's true.
early
Yeah,
80s.
well, I think their first album is 1970. There's like literally like the album is named after the year it was made. I think it was like 1974. No,
Oh, really?
I'm wrong. I might be wrong. I think I'm wrong. Yeah, but no, I know.
It's
I
all
think was it 1974, 1969? Yeah, I'll take a beer.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
What their album?
Yeah, is it 1970? The first one? I think it might be
We
1970.
can ask our friend Google real quick.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's ask
Or
Google
is
real
Google
quick.
our friend?
Where's Googler?
I mean, they're
But,
listening right now, right?
But yeah, so their music is, I would say like them and maybe like the Velvet Underground is the only other band I can think of this, but like their music is very modern almost sounding. Besides like, I guess like their later stuff is not necessarily my favorite, but they have some good songs in there. But their early stuff is like, it's like almost like funk alternative music. You know
That's
what I'm
cool.
saying? And like I hear a lot of like Modest Mouse in there, a lot of the Pixies in there. You know what I'm saying? With his vocals per se, like or his vocals for example, where. I don't know. You'd have to like listen to it.
77.
Okay, 77. Okay, but so like yeah, late 70s. Yeah.
Yeah.
77. Yeah. 77. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I definitely check them out. Like, they're one of the only bands that got me into a song that literally repeats itself. But they did a really good job of changing the melody.
Yeah.
So like the backbone of the song, so like the bass, the guitar, the drums are pretty much playing the same
It's
thing.
hip hop right there.
Is that, yeah, exactly.
That's
It's
hip
hip
hop.
hop. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually a good comparison. Yeah. So it's
That's
like
what- yeah.
hip hop, but like you
Just
can
a science,
tell,
but yeah,
you can
between
tell the difference between the verses and the chorus, for example.
just
Right.
because they add one little thing
The
there,
hook,
take away
exactly.
one thing there.
Yeah, and I didn't like that before in bands. I really didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, and now I'm like,
there's you got to appreciate if someone can make that like just stick. Yeah, work. You know what I mean? Because it's so
for sure.
simple, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's genius.
That's
Though.
why I fucking love punk.
It's
dude.
weird.
I
Yeah.
fucking love punk.
Yeah.
Because I feel like punk does that really well too. It's like, yeah, I'm listening, but everything is so catchy. Like everything, the drum part, the guitar part, the bass part, the melody, like everything is so catchy that you're just there bopping your head for like solid.
Yeah, the
3
whole
minutes,
time.
You know?
Yeah, you just don't stop.
And you're just there, like you want. Like sometimes you just want a fucking punk song, man.
I tried listening to the Dead Kennedys the other day. I don't know.
Couldn't do it?
I don't know, man. I heard like 2 or 3 songs and I was just like, I
No
don't know.
effects, bro.
I gotta say, I've never been huge on the early punk stuff either.
Yeah, it's just not good to me. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm a
Like,
huge fan of punk music too. I love punk rock. It's a big influence for me. But that early stuff, I just can't really
So what do
get.
you mean,
Maybe not
like-
yet. I don't know.
So what do you
know
mean, like,
Like the Clash, Sex Pistols type
Ramones?
you
stuff.
like them or you don't?
Not huge on it. I've
Okay.
never really been
What's
huge
a
on
good,
it.
what's a punk band that you like?
Green Day.
I mean, yeah,
I
I,
like
I started
Green Day.
listening to more punk stuff in the '90s.
I like
Green
Green
Day,
Day too,
though.
but I
Yeah.
stopped listening to them after American
Yeah,
Idiot.
yeah,
And
yeah.
They
absolutely.
lost me at American Idiot, where I was like,
I liked
there-
American
there's,
Idiot,
There's
though.
a few songs that I
Jesus
like.
of Suburbia, though. We want to cover that.
Yeah.
the
That song
whole
is
the whole
epic.
9 minutes.
That is like literally like Queen's
Yeah.
Bohemian Rhapsody, but for punk.
Yeah.
It's like so
Yeah,
good.
it's so good.
It's
Yeah,
so good.
It
I
is.
actually do like that song. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm not
He
a Green
doesn't.
Day
He's
fan.
talking
Yeah.
shit.
No, I'm not. I'm serious. Yeah, because she showed it to me years ago, and I was
It's
like,
a
oh, wow,
full
this is
9-minute
actually
song.
That's
pretty
like a
good.
masterpiece.
Yeah.
of punk,
It is a great
like,
song.
It's a
like-
good road trip song.
Yeah, like
Just
you're
Listen to it the whole way through.
everyone knows it,
Yeah,
everyone's
exactly.
like,
Oh yeah.
you know,
And then it slows down and gets all hit. Yeah.
It works.
But I don't know. I like a lot of more punk rock things like I'd say Alkaline Trio is a good one that I like to listen to. More skate punk type stuff.
Yeah, I like Mill and Colin
I
a
guess
lot.
yeah, Mill and Colin.
You ever listen to them? You ever listen to
No.
Mill and Colin?
You guys need to send me like these.
Yeah, we gotta get
names.
you that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have
Just
a
so I
good
can-
We
music
need to
trade.
get you that.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
we got to update your package right there.
Because I feel like the shit that like I listen to, like I like, for example, like Portishead. You guys have you ever heard them?
Heard of them, but I don't know
Yeah, I haven't
enough.
listened to them though.
Yeah, so them, Deerhoof. Have you ever heard of Deerhoof?
Can't say I have.
No, Deer Hunter.
No.
Yeah, but I don't know anything.
They're tight. The
about them.
Strokes.
Yeah.
We
Strokes,
listened to a
though.
bit of Strokes
Okay,
growing up.
they're cool.
I don't like the Strokes.
Thanks to Joey.
Kings of Leon. I like their early stuff a lot.
Never been huge on them. To be
Yeah,
honest.
I like that. I guess I'm like
Kings of
more
Leon, I
into
don't
like
mind, though.
the
They're
indie
okay.
stuff.
Yeah.
Personally,
Yeah,
They're-
right.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
choose to
fine,
listen to them, but if they're on, I won't turn them off though.
It's like Kings of Leon and Lil Wayne. Well, I'm gonna listen to
Kings,
of
yeah,
Leon.
obviously, yeah.
I'm chilling, man. I'm good with this.
I
Right?
feel like most people like more underground shit than I do.
Yeah, well, like Thrice.
I've never heard
Oh,
of them.
You ever heard of
I love me
Thrice?
some
I
Thrice.
like
No,
yeah, I
no,
can get down with some
Really good
Thrice.
stuff.
He
Gotta
he
check
wouldn't
them out.
like Thrice.
Yeah, maybe
Thrice.
not.
Yeah,
He wouldn't
yeah.
like Thrice.
Yeah.
He wouldn't.
Well,
I don't know.
they're pretty technical.
What is that other band?
Math rock
3
almost.
something?
Hmm.
3
Hardcore
Days
math
Grace.
rock.
3 Days Grace.
3 Days Grace came around the same time. He would not like 3 Days
No,
Grace.
I would-
But Thrice
I-
is a little bit heavier, but I don't think he would like
I don't
Yeah.
see them along the same vein really. I see
Yeah.
Thrice as more along.
Thrice is
Well,
heavier.
they're heavy for
They're
sure, but
heavier,
they're not
yeah.
like that kind of heavy. Not
no,
like
no,
that
no,
butt
no,
rock
but they're
heavy.
heavier than 3 Days Grace.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
They have their
and they're all
melodic
different
moments,
way.
though.
They're like
Huh?
They got their melodic moments though.
They do.
progressive alternative. Earlier stuff was more emo, and
After
this
we're done
don't
recording
like
this,
stuff
we're
was
gonna
more
listen.
ambient.
We're gonna put on some Thrice.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
down.
Right.
You know, I'm down.
You know, yeah.
I don't like emo music that much at all, to be honest.
No, it's-
Honestly.
I think
You
it's
might
like-
be hearing the wrong.
Yeah,
emo.
yeah, like that's the
Yeah.
thing that sucks is like that's like with brand new people associate them with like emo like that,
Mhm.
but it's like
Thrice
they're-
is an emo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Thrice
Stuff
They
like
are,
that.
but they're not.
Yeah, exactly.
They could be because
Right.
exactly they could, but they're not like
First
My
couple
Chemical
albums
Romance.
were-
yeah, like yeah,
No.
They're
that's,
not My Chemical Romance. They're not Panic at the Disco.
Taking
They're
yeah,
not,
but that's
Right,
like
that's
what,
where emo
that's,
started to
that's
break
what people
off.
yeah, because that's what people associate with because that's what's played on the radio. That's the
Mainstream,
that's
right.
the pop
Yeah.
version
Yeah.
of all that
Emo,
stuff.
Which
Although
I don't like
that's
that at
pop
all.
AFI
emo.
is really cool. I do like AFI. a lot.
They're
never heard
pop.
them.
They're like
But
the,
they're that-
they're
they're
like
that
the start
kind
of
of
pop
pop
emo.
emo,
Though.
right.
They're
I
like the
just
start
showed
of
him
it.
Silver and Gold. I think it's called.
Yeah, great song.
I love that song.
Me
dude.
too.
Like it was like it's one of the only songs that I like about like of that time too.
Uh-huh.
Because like I don't necessarily like a My Chemical Romance song or anything, but Silver and Gold. That just,
Yeah.
I don't know, it
Remember
works
Girls
for
Not
me.
Gray?
Yeah.
That's a song we talked about covering. That's
No, I don't think. I've heard
I don't know the lyrics, but
That's
a melody.
I don't know.
that was a
My
freaking
friend-
banger.
My friend
feel like
Carolina was huge into all of that
We're
stuff.
speaking
Yeah.
Spanish now.
I just feel like I've been living under a rock, man.
Well, I,
Not really, I
no,
mean-
because I haven't heard the bands that you were saying
Right.
though either. So it's just
We've been living under different rocks.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I've
Yeah.
been living on a rock. Yeah, you over there, me over here.
Yeah.
Different rocks. It's not a big deal.
A big deal for me, like when I listen to a band, is literally the most important thing to me is the vocalist. Does the vocalist sound unique? If they don't, then I don't even, honestly, for the most part, I don't even care about the music behind them. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
So you
for
can
me.
sound unique and the music could be crappy and you'd still like it.
If the
I'm judging you right now.
if
by
the
way.
band, like for example, like I feel like personally, if the band sounded very similar to Radiohead, but they had like a really cheesy sounding singer, I would probably not like that band. Maybe that's Muse. I don't know, but
Damn, shots fired.
I don't know.
Matthew Bellamy,
Bellamy
he's a
is-
great singer though.
Yeah.
Dude,
he's
literally-
amazing.
Without a doubt.
someone who was it? Emmett was like, "Yeah, people have told me that you sound like that guy." I'm like, "Fuck you."
I don't think you sound like
Yeah.
Wants
him.
to sound like Tom York. That's
Oh, yeah.
fine.
Not necessarily, but
Matthew Bellamy is an amazing singer though. Like he's
no, I'm sure
Very
he
distinct
is.
style.
He's
going
like-
nuts. There's a fly or something.
Yeah,
My
she's-
cat-
plus
my cat's going
like
nuts.
blood
another cat
vessels
outside.
singing live and shit like that. You know,
Okay,
during
okay.
the shows and stuff because he just
gets
goes.
into it?
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I just I have a friend at work that damn, did she get you?
yeah, she's fine. I'm used to it.
Fuck that bitch, dude. God damn.
She's gonna freak out because of the cat. There's another
Oh, there's
cat
another cat
outside of
We
our
should let her
house.
outside, dude. Let's see
Just
what
so she
happens.
can get beat up. There's a cat outside of our house currently, and my cat is going absolutely bananas trying to beat up this cat. She wouldn't
would
do
not
shit.
do shit.
She
bro.
wouldn't do
She
shit.
would literally get
She
so
wouldn't do
scared.
shit.
Yeah, you're lucky I'm behind this.
She's actually rubbing. She's
Lucky.
rubbing on the window like she wants to get fucked.
Pulling the
I think
blinds
that's
down.
probably
Yeah,
what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
she's
my
presenting
cat's
herself.
horny, dude.
Yeah,
my
she
cat's
wants-
horny.
she wants the D.
Aw.
Yeah, if you let her out, she might come back.
She's fixed, man. She's
Oh,
not
is she?
coming- she's not
She
coming
might come back
No.
with an STD.
Oh, yeah, right.
A BD, bro. No, but this is a good conversation because I think it's interesting to talk to people about how they listen to music differently. Like it's just AFI, Silver and Cold works for me.
Yeah.
I don't like that genre of music. I don't like metal. System of a
Really?
Down works for me. Tool
Love that shit.
works for me. I love that shit because it's and the honestly the way that I feel and again, ooh, she got you good.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm used to it. I got scratched in the face before, so this is nothing.
Oh, scratch it.
It's nothing.
But
Moon's a dick. My
I-
cat.
cats are the worst. But
Yeah.
I love cats. She's the worst. I had a really nice cat at like before her. She's mad, man. We found her on the streets. She's a
Oh, yeah.
street cat.
Really?
Yeah. But
Nice.
I think it really boils down to having a band that does that genre different. And I feel like, for example, like System of a Down does metal
Yeah.
really differently.
Unlike anyone else.
Yeah, they make it their own.
sure.
Tool does metal differently, and it's just like do you want that typical sound because there's bands out there, or do you want something a little bit different?
Right.
Those are probably the bands that you lean towards a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I like, because like pretty much they're the ones that paved the way, and that's what makes them unique for that, because they're like the first to test that sound out, and people that are like, you know what I mean, like people follow that type of shit, and that's what I'm saying is at the end of the day, for us, I don't like to try to just follow certain genres just because they're popular, just because
Right.
they're in
If you're
shit like
following
that.
a trend, you're always going to be behind it.
That's why
Exactly,
you just
it's
got to
true.
make it your own shit, and if it's good, people are gonna like it, and
Yeah.
if not,
For sure.
so yeah.
You get so much stuff nowadays. I don't mean just locally, but just commercially, that just every new song or a new band sounds like a carbon copy of some other band
Right.
that was popular a couple years ago or a couple months ago, whatever it may be. I want to hear something new and different and exciting.
Exactly. My
Yeah.
sister makes fun of me, but I assume she means our generation, just because it's like, oh, all you guys do is listen to stuff that came out when I was young, and it's like
That's the
because
last good
that's
stuff.
the
Yeah,
last
that's when it was
That's
good. Yeah.
That's the last time. Well, I would probably make fun of people like that too if I were her. Not in a bad way. I would just be like, ha, your shit sucks. And
Right.
it just
Okay.
does. It does. And it's like, I tell her, I'm like, you know why? Because it's the fucking last time that anyone thought of
Yep.
stuff. Thought
That's
of
not
things.
true though. There's
And
There's good new
good
stuff,
music
you're
out
right.
Yeah,
right now.
it just doesn't get played though. That's
It
Few and
doesn't.
far between.
Yeah.
I
It doesn't
just-
get love.
I feel like it doesn't come off as genuine as it did back then. But that could
Right.
have been also a way that it was just being played in the media. But I don't feel anything as genuine as Nirvana. I don't feel anything as genuine as Stone Temple Pilots. Like just the way that it's being presented to me, the way that it's just like these people go home and they feel genuinely the way that they just presented themselves to me in this song. And I don't feel that. I mean, the Pixies too, Radiohead too. Like I feel like those bands go home and they feel the way that they just
they put their
present the
their heart
songs.
and soul into each song that they write.
It's exactly who we are as people,
Yeah.
and here it is. Do with it what
Exactly.
you will. And I just kind of don't feel that way with these new bands. And I just could just be me.
No,
Well,
I feel you
mean,
too.
What
though.
resonates with you might be different than what resonates with someone else, but
It is. Yeah.
I do.
Arctic
That's-
Monkeys, for example,
goes to
it's
show.
big with people.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah,
They're
I
okay.
don't
So
mind them.
they're still like I would consider them like an older band. They're from like the early 2000s. So
that's true. Yeah.
let's like if we're gonna go there, let's talk about like new bands. And I honestly
I don't
haven't.
even know like any new bands.
I don't
That's-
know
yeah,
of any
exactly,
new bands that are
because
famous
all-
at least.
Yeah.
You
All
know.
the bands that you could name right now have probably been out for a while. and
Right.
are just now starting to pick up traction, right? Because
Yeah.
Deerhoof,
They've been around since the early 90s.
yeah,
Yeah.
forever. So it's just like
Mac DeMarco, he's like early 2000s.
Yeah.
But you would, I don't know, you'd probably like him if you
Yeah.
like pop music. He's poppy. He's probably my favorite pop artist right now, and
Really?
probably people wouldn't even consider him pop. He's not really. He's not like music. He's not like radio pop. He's like hipster pop.
Oh, I would say pop. I think pop fits him really well.
He sounds like if John Lennon would have continued writing music, but like more less like big bandy, more like just like a songwriter. You know what I'm saying? Like more simplified.
Huh.
Yeah.
I've listened to a couple of his songs. I see where you're coming from with that.
Like he's I don't. The only thing I will say about his music is that it does tend to sound kind of sound the same.
Yeah.
But he's such a good songwriter in my opinion, where he has like really good melodies, and like although his guitar parts typically sound the same and they have like the same effect, for example, the songwriting is so good and the chord progressions are nice that I tend to. I mean, I love him.
And you just look past that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I guess what I was trying to say with that is that I feel like we might be the generation to like reinstill like the bands that we used to listen to.
Yeah, I hope.
That's the hope, man.
It's
That'd be awesome.
It's like circular. I feel like it
That's
like
true.
it fell off and now it's coming back around because everything
Yeah.
comes in waves.
You know what I mean? Where you get into a fucking room with a bunch of people and you sweat your dick off and
Yeah.
you write a song. Like that's you just get in there and you just do it.
I wasn't
Quite
talking
familiar
about
with
that.
Right?
No, like you just get in there and you're just like, I want to write a song. Let's go.
Dick off.
Like you just go. Like you know what I mean? Like where you don't have this thing behind you where you're like being modeled from something. You know what I mean? Like it's a stretch because none of us would do it. But like American Idol,
Yeah.
America's Next, whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah,
like
right.
all of that stuff. It's all like, wow, you're like at 6, which is really great. I can profit from this. Let me take you to a 10 because I made you do certain things and now you're there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I don't get that. I genuinely don't get that. There's a really good interview.
People just want to be
for-
famous and that's it.
Yeah, there's a really good interview from.
Let me show you how to be famous.
From Dave Grohl, where he went and he like spoke about that. He's like, I don't get these. Like, I don't get it. Like back in the day, you would just go and you would just play all day, all night. You would just go and you would play your instrument and you'd get really good at it, and then you get with other people and you would just do it.
Right.
You would just like, what's a song? I don't know.
What
Let's
happened to
figure it out.
artistry?
Yeah.
Let's figure it out together. Wow, from beginning to end, we could play this song. Okay, now let's go play it in front of people. And then that was it. There was nothing malicious or just, there wasn't anything weird behind it. It was just, I want to play this song in front of people. And then you went and you just did it.
Yeah, because like record labels on that they just look at bands as just products though.
Products.
Now they're not
How can I
actual
make money
artists.
off
Yeah,
of
they're just
this?
products.
Yep.
You know?
And if you got to look good, you got to sound good. I mean, well, you don't even have to sound good nowadays because you just
No, you don't.
lip sing and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
As long as you know how to dance,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah,
Like
as long as you have like a simple 4/4 beat, then you're
Thanks.
pretty much solid. Yeah, I do feel like
just what's marketable.
we happen to like be at we happen to be at this point, which is it's interesting, but we're at a point now where we don't technically need a record label behind us.
Yeah, no,
right?
not at all.
'Cause
Yeah.
you have the internet.
Yeah, you got
can
the social media, you have all that stuff, and try to get followings like that.
But we also find ourselves at a point where we have to do a lot more work ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is tough.
Mhm.
It's probably, I would say that we might be at that forefront where I don't know if, like, for example, like Tame Impala is a band that I listen to where I know they're signed to a label, but I don't know how they got to that point. I don't know if it's the same way as us, where we're just kind of like playing shows. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I'm not sure. I don't know. I have no idea.
Every
But
band's got their own path, I guess. But
yeah, but I do feel like the way we're doing it now is like almost like, oh, this is like we're kind of like we're the first people to have to like do it this
pioneering.
way. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, we're having to do it, figure it out like now. Like for example, like I've told and I said this to Jordan on his podcast. A lot of the stuff that he does, I try to copy him. To be honest, like with like marketing and whatnot, because I have no idea. Like I'm awful. I'm awful at all this
yeah,
shit.
me too.
I hate it.
Yeah,
first of all.
you should see him trying to come up with a post on Instagram and shit. He'll literally
I
like
overthink it
Mark.
way too much.
Yeah, Mark will say he'll come home and like he'll just be on like his phone, just staring at his phone for like hours, just like trying to like come
Might
up.
be a bit of an exaggeration.
No, like no, no, like
No, but I get that.
he'll just
I
be
get
saying that.
that.
He's like, "Is it worded right? Did I
Yeah.
say enough? Did I say too much? You know, or
Yeah,
did you
yeah.
know?" It's just like
That's a shitty thing.
it's just like
Yeah.
sometimes you just can't overthink it though, is what I think, and you just
Yeah.
just
The way that I see it, it's like, how would a person that's paid to do this do it, right? Like, would
Yeah,
they
true.
overthink it? Eventually, you get comfortable enough where you just do it.
yeah,
You
because
Right.
you just post it.
I always
You-
think that
let
overthinking
it
though
happen.
does more damage than good sometimes though.
Can,
It does.
Just
sure.
let
Yeah.
it just let it happen.
You just
man.
gotta let it be natural.
Yeah, just let it let it fly.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks though. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Yeah, I know it does.
There's times where I just wish someone would come in and just do it for us because it's so like.
That's just another person you got to pay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like a marketing team.
Like people, I mean, it can be argued that we have it a lot easier nowadays because we can do all this stuff ourselves.
Yeah.
But it should also be recognized that it's a lot harder for us too because we have to learn to not only be musicians and performers, but engineers on top of all that and social media people.
I mean, everything.
And
Yeah.
I disagree.
everything all in one.
I disagree. I think if anyone says it, I would be like, back in the day, you would just play music, and
Right.
then a fucking record label
Well,
would be
That's
like,
what I mean.
They're
Yeah, the
saying
record
that
label
it's
would just have
easier.
to
He's
come in
saying
and
that
see it.
they would think it's easier because you get to do it all yourself. So you get to do it exactly how you want.
People
but
might
that
argue
actually
that.
makes it harder.
That's what
I
I'm
think
saying.
it makes it
Yeah.
harder. Yeah.
I think that's
Because
no, that's what I'm
it
saying.
makes more accessible for everyone to do it too.
Yeah. I mean,
And there's
probably
tools,
like
too,
a
to make-
shitload of competition right now.
Yeah,
you
and,
know?
and there's tools too, like for people to make themselves sound better on the computer.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mixing
and like
and stuff like that.
they but they sound like shit when they perform live. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like,
Yeah.
but that's how a lot of places view music now. Of like bars or something like that. They want to hear your like music first on a CD or something like that. But who's to say like,
Jokes on you.
yeah, you know what I mean though?
Yeah, right. It could sound totally different on a CD
Yeah,
than when they
exactly.
bring them in.
Yep. That was. I mean, that's. I don't even think that matters anymore either. I think for a lot of venues, and we've talked about this on the podcast before. I feel like now all that matters is if you can bring numbers. That's all that matters. You know, it doesn't matter if you're trash. If
Yeah.
you can bring people to the fucking,
They'll
to
play
the,
you,
to,
yeah,
they'll,
they'll
they
let
don't
you
give a
play.
fuck. They'll book you. You know what I'm
So
saying?
that's pretty
we've
true.
had a lot of venues ask us for our music, and I think that's really funny too because it's like you have no idea how we sound. I mean, for the
Yeah.
longest time, like the first shit that we put out, people would literally tell us like it sounded good, it sounded really clean, like it was fine, but you guys sound really different live. And I'm like, yeah,
Way
Yeah.
better live. was
because
the couple of the
fucking
things.
hell, man, like if I was clipping. That's why, at me, drummer, clipping, like, the dude did not know what to do with himself. And it's just like, so, like, it just sounded a lot more, compressed and stuff like that. So
Right.
it is what it is. So, but it's funny. It's funny to see a venue do that where they're like, oh, yeah, okay, you guys can come play because your recording sounded good. And then they get out there and you're just like, they have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Doesn't
you
sound
just
good,
watch
and they
them,
didn't
like-
bring people. Why did we bring these people in? Because their
Yeah.
recording sounded good.
Yeah, yeah. It's like you watch them just crash and burn. You're like, that's humorous. That's comedy. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I will say though, I do feel that one thing that would separate us, for example, from other bands is just keeping with it and just continue. Because you guys are great. There's no
Thanks,
reason why if you continued playing that you guys wouldn't be able to make a living off of it.
Thanks.
You know what I'm saying? So if you just kept doing it,
Yeah.
eventually you'll be able to fucking quit your jobs.
Yeah. Like that's what I was.
Cool, man.
That's what I was telling. Like, you ever listen to Bill Burr?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
there.
let's do his podcast all the time.
Yeah. Like there's one where, like, this girl came up to him because you know how like he's very like people perceive him as politically incorrect and
Yep.
shit like that.
Mhm.
So this like lady was asking him like, "Do you think why is there so few females in comics and like in comedy and stuff like that?" He's like, "Well, if you go out and you do this, like if you perform every night and you're killing it every night and like if you keep making the person go out like that's playing after you bomb because they saw you play,
Yeah.
people are gonna notice that shit. You're gonna get
It's
recognition.
not your problem.
Yeah, exactly. and that's like it if you're good, people are going to notice. That's what it's like comes down to
Yeah.
at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And so just don't quit.
Just keep going.
Yeah, if you get that
Get
response, people are going to take notice, and eventually, shit will happen.
That's
Yeah.
a good answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, but I guess even then though, like even for a band, I mean, I doubt there's no little kids listening to this, but if there was, if you were like starting out and you were bad, just who I think Kenny actually said this, and it was the first time I ever thought about this. But honestly, being in a band is a marathon. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a race.
It's not a race. It's
No.
a marathon. If you can last together, more than likely you will. Because like even if you're terrible, like you could be really bad, but eventually, if you're a normal human being, for the most part, I would say at least you'll get better.
Yeah.
With time, and then you'll be good.
Yeah, it's like
Right.
there's like this one book that says like if you do a full if you study for 40 hours a week for 5 years, you could become a master at anything that you like in that study.
Yeah.
So that's like however many hours, like 10,000 hours or some shit like
That's what
that
they
you
say,
log.
yeah, to be
Yeah,
to be a master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that's what I'm saying. If you put 10,000 hours in playing that musical instrument,
It's gonna yeah.
Yeah.
You'll
Yeah.
if you just keep doing it,
People
eventually.
tend to get frustrated at a quarter of that.
Yeah.
And they're like, why haven't I done it? It's like, well,
'Cause you didn't put the
fucking
time in.
stopped.
Yeah.
I'm over here like just
Yeah, 'cause
sweating.
that's what they always
I don't know
say
what
is
to
like
tell
with
you.
musicians and like even athletes and stuff like that. Like you don't see the sweat and tears that they put in.
Yeah, behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes to get to where they are though. Like they put hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, I mean,
and-
think about just like literally practice.
Yeah, just that craft.
like
yeah,
band practice.
Yeah, exactly.
If I may add something on that topic, I think a lot of it is just putting in the time, absolutely, but a lot of it is your method of practice as well, which I think we've kind of learned the hard way at
Well, yeah, you have to fail to
times
learn.
too. Yeah, fail to learn. Jordan has 100%.
But it's true though.
But no,
I know.
you got me all sidetracked now. But as far as practicing with determination to make it better each time you practice it, instead of practicing just to go through the motions. If you're
Yeah.
going through the motions 10,000 hours, you're not going to get that much better as if you were practicing to make each time
With
you
a
do
purpose.
it.
Yeah,
Right, with
well,
purpose.
Yeah, I would
trying
hope
to
that
get
you
better.
would like
Well,
adapt.
yeah,
though.
you should, but some
Yeah.
people don't. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
some people
That's
see
true.
practice as monotony.
For sure.
No,
It
it's
shouldn't be.
true.
There's a difference between muscle memory and actually knowing what you're doing.
Right.
You know, because, I mean, one is just kind of feeling it, and then you kind of fall into that whole thing where it's like, if you're going through emotion and something else like messes up, then you fuck up, and it's like it shouldn't be like that, right? You should know the song inside and out. If someone else fucks up, you should
Yeah, you
be
just
there
keep
to
doing
kind
it.
of pick up the slack
Yeah.
and keep going. So it's like, you know, it's supposed to be more than just that. You know, just I know my part. Well,
Yeah.
do you know your
Right.
part inside and out, where you can just do it no matter what, or what are we talking about?
You should strive to play it perfectly, even if you're not even going to get close to that. That
Exactly.
still should be what you're going
yeah.
The
for.
goal is yeah. I feel like Kenny and I are pretty we're pretty good about that. I feel like we might have. I think we may have like lessened a little bit on that. Like I think we're a little more. We're not as
So
strict.
say what it is that you have to say, Daniel. It
We're just
seems like
not. We're not
you're-
as tough. Like I feel like back in
biting
the
your
day,
tongue.
like that's why we've kicked out multiple bass players or whatever.
Damn,
But
I've lasted. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, I suck.
but
So that's good.
yeah, I feel like since we know, and I'm sure you guys are the same because you guys are both songwriters and you have a high, you have a high bar for the way your music sounds.
Thank you.
I feel like I mean,
Sure.
listening to you guys and just knowing Vince. Let me just say that just knowing him with Jordan, and I experienced it firsthand. Like I haven't played it with you guys or anything like that, like in your band, so I haven't seen that. But just knowing him, and obviously you being really good friends with him, I can only imagine that you're very similar in that sense as well. That you just if you wanted to sound good, you got to take that shit seriously. And but I guess what I was trying to say is I feel like we've lessened a little bit on that, but I think that has to do with trust. Like I trust
Yeah.
Emmett. Emmett's not a bad bass player, obviously, as you know, and Ellie's not a bad drummer. So it's like now it's more of like what Tommy was saying earlier about just letting them know, like, hey, this is what I'm thinking of. Now you add to that. You get what I'm saying? In terms of practice, though, I will say we still end up playing songs multiple times and make sure that we get it right. So that's
As you should.
I will say that.
I mean,
Yeah.
For sure.
You got to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it actually helps more once you've done it for so long with the same people to practice a song, because now it's like once you get everyone to that point where they know their parts inside out, it's great. It feels that's like another level. You
Right.
know what I mean? It's like now it doesn't matter. Now anyone can fuck up. Hopefully no one does, but if it happens, it is what it is, and we're gonna push through because
Right.
everyone else knows what it is that they need to be doing. There was this one time we were playing a show, and was it running on empty? I think it was running on empty, and his pedals were like not doing what they were supposed to do. He was like, fucking
bad wiring or some shit.
like he was just like, God damn it, and I was like,
It's happened to me.
I was like, 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I was like, fuck, let me make sure I land this. And then by the time we got back to the other part, everything like it worked or whatever, and it was just like if I hadn't landed that would have sounded a lot crappier than it
Could have fallen apart.
Yeah,
could have fallen apart.
That's definitely like something that needs to be there. Like if one of us, like if something just happens to go out, the person obviously keeping the rhythm unfortunately has to keep.
It sucks.
Make sure to fucking
Responsibility.
Yeah, it's the truth though, because
Another thing though is like you have to hide your emotions though too.
Yeah,
which-
you're
it's
right.
been a struggle for me.
He's bad at that.
I
He's
wear my
guilty
emotions
as
on my
shit.
sleeve.
yeah,
Like-
I get it though.
Like if
But-
me or Mark or something will like just make one little thing and we know it though, and like his little brother pointed out when we played at Green Bench though, like something like happened or something, and like he's like, I could totally see your face, man. Like
You should probably
Like,
not do that.
yeah, I could totally tell that something's wrong.
I'm gonna have to agree on that one because the thing is that most of the time no one knows.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
like
You
we,
don't know unless you make it obvious that.
and like if I mess up, I know I messed up though. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
But the thing is if you know that, that's great. If you can admit that, that's awesome. We've played with people, and I'd have to say, Emmett, sometimes, and I love you, fucking Emmett, I
You
love
just-
you, bro.
Fuck you.
But Emmett will be like, no, it was great. I'm like, dude, you fucked up like every song,
Yeah.
you know.
And I was actually gonna go further back and be like, this last bass player not the last one, but there was this bass player we had where it was just like we played these shows and he was just like, it was like a simple song, and he would just like completely butcher it, and then he would like, because people clapped because they're nice, he would get off stage and feel good. And then like us three would pick up his slack, and as far as like feeling pissed off, and we'd be like, what happened with like hard what happened with that song? No, I mean, I think I played that fine.
yeah,
Okay, well, you didn't.
yeah. I was guilty of that though one time though. At the Go Figure.
Yeah, I'll say nothing more.
Yeah, no, it happened to me though one time where I thought I was right and I was wrong though.
And you looked right at me and said, "No, you're wrong."
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was my
Yeah,
fault
okay.
though. I totally, I don't know. I know I'm guilty on that one part.
That's funny though.
But
I mean, but you can
I tried.
admit it though.
Yeah, I
now.
admit it. But like I tried playing it off though. I mean, we did play it off pretty well though. It's like
You're welcome.
I stopped. I stopped though on the third beat, and when we were all supposed to stop on like the fourth beat,
There.
and it
I
was
had a brain fart.
yeah.
That happens,
I
man.
was just like I was.
mean,
It was
how
like a
you
weird
recover,
thing. I was
that's
just trying to
It's
count.
happened to
Yeah,
me multiple times.
Trying to count.
I'm the drummer, so
Yeah.
can you imagine how bad that sounded?
yeah. So I was like, oh shit. Well, at least
yeah.
I
there's
could come
I
back.
mean, I'll be honest. Yeah, there's times where there's been sets that I felt were terrible, and I haven't been really upset in a while at a set. You know what I'm saying? Like that happens sometimes, but like it's been a long time, which is good. I also feel like it's probably because we've been playing the same songs for a while. But regardless, what I'm trying to say is like, yeah, I tend to make a point to not show that emotion at the time because like there's definitely songs where I'm like, you should fucking know that. Like, there's no reason to not know this. Don't like, there's like, you should be getting this shit perfect, and you fucked it up. And you know, I'll just. It's like it sucks because you have to act.
I
Yes,
wonder- I wonder
exactly.
if
I'm not a good
people-
actor.
Yeah, no, you're not.
I wonder if people know this.
You'd be terrible at
Like, I wonder
poker.
if people really
I don't- that's why I don't play.
understand this part of
Being in a band.
being in a
No.
band.
Yeah,
where it's just
more
like,
to it
Yeah,
than just
yeah,
getting up
it's-
there and
it's-
playing.
It's a
It's-
show.
man.
You gotta
It's-
have chemistry. That's
it's-
like the bottom line. Is if you don't have chemistry in a band, though, then like you can't really.
Yeah.
No.
You guys
and
all gotta.
chemistry kind of goes with that whole like being able to just move past it, finish the set, and then yell at your
Well,
bandmate
yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah, because you guys are like a
Fuck,
family though
yeah.
too. At this, that's what you got to
Well,
treat it as a little bit.
we are like a family.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bands that just like, oh yeah,
Play
you guys
it.
like the same shit, I do too. Like let's
Yeah.
just play, and then they just
You
go
play
on
this
their separate
instrument?
waves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's play
Yeah,
this
that's
instrument
what-
together.
Yeah, I know it does happen, but I'm saying
Yeah.
that's what makes it unique though, is when you could tell that there's
a-
relationships between like all of them.
Yeah,
That's
that
when
a
a
band
band
is
is-
home.
Yeah.
That's when a band is like, I feel like more enjoyable.
Yeah, because I
Agreed.
remember like growing like in high school when we were the Grays and stuff like that. Me and Jordan would always fuck with each other on stage. Like then we would just like be playing and we'd just both be looking at each other like with a weird ass face,
Yeah.
and we would try not to break character. And then the first one like that would like break character lost. And
That's
people
awesome.
people would be watching that, and be like, oh, you guys look like you're having a fucking great ass
Yeah.
time up there and
We are.
everything. I'm like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that's good. That is cool because it shows. I mean,
Because
we've
if
been
you're
told the same thing.
if you're having a good time up there, people watching you are gonna have a good time.
Exactly.
you know?
Yeah. I just I mean, and there's bands that I've heard that like Deer Hunter is actually a really good example of this, where like their music is really good, but them live is really bad, in my opinion.
Really?
Like
There's just very
they're
still.
just not. Yeah, they're not. They're just. They don't really move around much.
Yeah.
You know, they're just like there.
Hopefully
Yeah.
they don't listen to this.
I hope they never listen to this. They might agree. They might, but whatever. Like, it's a nice thing too because they're a big band and they make money. I'm sure, like they don't have to work or whatever. But
Yeah.
So it's like in their case, it's awesome because it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess it all does just matter about the music. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Or some nights, you know, they're just having an off day because it is work for them, you know.
I have seen multiple performances though.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
They just
every
do
time
that.
it's the same shit. They're very like shoegazy, is why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not the that's
they're
not the
playing
style.
like this fucking crazy guitar part. It's like roaring at you, and then they pan to the guitarist, and
Yeah,
he's just there.
He's just there, like, you know, just
Yeah.
standing there.
How?
Like,
Yeah.
they never really go crazy, and it's
Yeah.
like that's fine. I have nothing wrong with that. Like the music is that good, where I'm just like that's fucking dope. But like as a if someone, I'm sure
Yeah,
people
you're paying money. You want to see some sort of like
also-
interaction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people go out and they just want to gaze at their shoes all
yeah,
night.
yeah, yeah.
Pixies are like that too.
I love
Pixies
it.
are like that.
I just saw this comment section on the Pixies, and one person complained. You should talk to your crowd or do something like, I love you guys, but da 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 da. And then like the next comments were just like, reply to that comment were just people reaming that guy.
Sure.
Obviously, you have no fucking idea. They've been like this since 1990. And I just went in there and I was like, yeah. Like, dude, but it could be just because maybe those people were musicians or whatever. I don't care. I want you
Right.
to speak to me as little as possible. Rip through songs, bro. Just rip through
Yes.
songs. I
Fine,
want
too.
to hear it
I would
all
rather
out.
just hear the song, like the most amount of songs that you can
Exactly.
fucking go through.
If you
know?
talking less means I hear 3 more songs, absolutely. Talk, just shut your mouth.
Sure.
It is nice
Word.
hearing some backstories though, every now and then.
Yeah,
though.
yeah, for
you know,
sure.
personal stories and stuff like that. though.
I saw Green Day live. I loved it, and he spoke a lot. Like Billy Joel,
Oh,
he
yeah.
spoke a lot, and I loved it, and it was fun, and it was, dude, that dude's a beast. Like he
Yeah,
must
Billy
be,
Joe Armstrong
He
though. Yeah.
must be like in shape or some shit. I don't know. He must work out.
Yeah, he's
but
like in
that
his
dude was
40s now
running
doing that
around
shit.
everywhere, just belting, and I'm like,
Dude's always had
I love
energy.
it.
Yeah, he did.
I love it.
That's actually a good point too. Because now that I think about it, like personally, it would be nice to hear like Tom York or something like that. Like just kind of talk a little bit about something. you
Yeah,
know
just
what
say
I'm
like,
saying?
but this song, I wrote this song because
fucked up.
yeah, or something like that, or
That would be nice, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
because remember Anthony Ranieri, how
Yeah.
he introduced the song. He's like, oh, I wrote this song. It was actually funny. This is the only song that I played lead on because whatever the guitarist's name was,
Jack.
yeah, he got a DUI and he was in jail that night when we were at the studio.
That's awesome.
He's like, so I had to play lead on it. So
That's
this.
funny.
I'm the one on the lead for that one song only.
He's
That
great
is
with crowd
cool.
control, Anthony.
Yeah.
Shout out to Bayside, another one of my favorite
another
bands.
bass. Yeah,
Fucking
never
love
heard
them.
them either.
yeah.
Check 'em out.
That's like his and Mark's go-to band.
No, but it's like, and that's another thing too. Like, I don't know about you guys, but for me personally, like, just hearing shit like that, like, it makes me kind of like, oh, okay, so maybe I can do something else. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I feel like us, for example, we don't really talk about, like, you guys are better at that. I feel like than we are. Like, you guys kind of talk about the songs.
I
a
might
little
say
bit
a lot because I
more.
don't think we're very good at that.
Yeah,
I
I've
think you're
been
better at
I've been
that.
trying like this past show. I tried like
a little bit.
extra
Yeah.
harder to be
Yeah.
to kind of be like that, you
Yeah.
know, like also like with like introduce, like, you know, I'm saying, oh, give it up for Kevin, give it up
Yeah.
for that, you know, Mark over here, then, you know,
Yeah.
I like bands that do that too, you know, that actually introduce who's
people.
playing what though, you know, and
Yeah.
it's like me giving back to the guys,
Yeah, that are playing
like-
with you. Yeah.
like giving up recognition and be like, hey, applaud,
Right.
you know, like they're up here sweating their asses off.
That's true too. I guess like, I guess with me, since I typically like learn the band, like I know the names, I look them up, like I'm like kind of like a geek like that, where like if I
Yeah.
like the band, I'll start looking into them.
I'm like,
And,
I'm the same kind of way.
Yeah, like I'll just like learn their names and like I know everything about them,
Yeah.
like their side projects and shit. So it's like, I guess when I see like that, I'm more of like I don't really need to hear that, but like I get it for like us, for example, like where there's a lot of people that are seeing us for the first time. Where we should probably, introduce ourselves and shit
It's
like
nice
that.
to have a balance, but man, like I personally, like I don't know. Maybe if it wasn't the Pixies and if it wasn't Radiohead, maybe I would want that. I enjoyed when Billy Joel did that, but if he didn't do that, would I enjoy it just the same? Probably. again, hearing 3 more songs, 4 more songs from an older album or something, I would have been like, that worked for me.
I don't know.
Anthony Kiedis didn't talk a lot either when I saw them live.
Really?
Yeah, that's why I think it has to be a good balance, though.
Yeah.
You know, you can't talk too much, but
Yeah.
because that's like what Drewski was saying though, was like we don't say our names enough when we're
Yeah,
on
we should be
stage.
better with that.
You know what I mean? Like,
Like
we
your
don't.
band name?
Yeah, we don't say our band name enough.
Yeah,
You know?
that's actually a good
I
point.
said it
I didn't,
once.
I didn't even think of that because that night you didn't really say it that
Yeah,
much.
and that, and because there's this one band that we played, the Electric Mud, and he's like, yeah, they said their band name like 17 times up on stage,
They
and
did.
like, and he's like, yeah, but it resonates with
Hammers
the
at
people,
home, yeah.
with the
You're
people
drunk
that are
as
there.
fuck.
Yeah.
And you're like, I like that band.
What was that one band? Oh yeah, now yeah.
I do try to like maybe like 2 or 3 songs in, I'll be like, hey, if you just got in, like,
Right.
but that's usually like I notice that someone just came in. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's funny.
It's not necessarily like I'm just doing it like just because I feel like, oh, I should probably say this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's why I am too. I
Same.
don't want to keep saying it, but at the same time, it is like repetition does go a long way
It does
though.
go a long way.
For sure.
Yeah.
With people though, if you're just to say it, just be like, once again, we're viewers like you. Or like after a song, thanks again. Once again, we're viewers like you.
Yeah.
This next song is this.
Yeah.
That goes a
go right
long
into
way
it.
with local bands, for sure, that don't have a whole lot of notoriety. But for a band like
I know that's
Pixies
what,
or Green Day,
well,
they don't
yeah,
have to do
I
that.
know.
They
I'm
don't
saying-
need to.
That's what I'm
That's part
saying.
of their
Everyone's here
experience.
because
Yeah.
they like
That's what I was trying to
Yeah.
trying to get to, is that them not talking or talking a lot or whatever the heck it is that they do is part of their show.
Yeah.
You know, that's what the
Yeah,
fans come to
They already
expect.
have their fans.
Yeah.
It
Right.
doesn't matter.
That's why it's
Exactly.
cool when they say personal stories though, because it's like, oh, I love them, and then they say something personal that like
Yeah.
not everyone knows. Like, oh, that's so cool.
That's exactly the point. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's like almost like an inside joke. You get what I'm saying? Like, oh, no one else.
You
is
missed
hearing
it
this.
because
Yeah.
you weren't at that.
No, I made
Yeah,
a
exactly.
joke because I was in the show. Yeah,
Exactly.
Exactly.
Which is yeah.
What
I
did he
never
say
thought
at
of
your
that.
show? Dude, he said that. What did he say at your? And then
Yeah.
it's
Told
like
a different
whole
story,
thing.
whatever
Yeah,
it might have been.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's man, I have such a hard time with that. Like I felt like, for example, like my aunt passed away right before we released the album, and she actually like funded the album, technically speaking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it was like a big thing that I could have like made into like a thing with the album, and Jordan was like, dude, you should do it. Like it wouldn't be weird at all. Like just do it. And I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And I never did it because I don't know. It just felt weird. It would just feel strange. Like I almost felt like I would be like trying to profit off of that.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, I like think in retrospect, and it's like it's not that at all. I'm just whatever. I'm blah blah blah. But it's just like that's I don't like sharing my personal life.
I feel where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, like I just don't. Like I don't like posting things about my personal life on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I think with like the podcast, for example, I think it'll be a little bit easier for me to do, just because like if you took the time to listen to this shit, then you deserve to hear some
Yeah,
personal shit.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, we haven't really gotten to anything too personal, but I wouldn't mind it per se. But yeah, it's hard for me, and I don't know. It would, I guess
I would think if you were lying, then maybe that would be like worse, and it'd
Yeah.
make you kind of like you should think about it. But the fact that it's real, like that it's true, and you just wanted to put it out there. But if you didn't want to do it, you didn't want to do it. It is what it is. I probably wouldn't have done it either, honestly.
It's your call at the end of the day, no matter what.
Exactly.
yeah. I guess
You know,
another thing
share
too is
music
like
and your aunt and,
with
you know.
with like your like for example like a song, right? Like let's say like one of your songs, like I kind of like I'm like in between telling people what the song's about
Mm-hmm.
and allowing them to interpret the song.
That's an argument that we've maybe not an argument, a debate that
Yeah.
we've talked about. I feel like he goes too far with explaining what the
song is.
meaning
It depends
behind
on
the
the
songs
song
are
is what
sometimes.
I feel like though, man.
Yeah.
I feel like it should be open to interpretation. Let them
Not for
hear it
every-
and let them feel
not
what
with
they want to feel.
Not with that song that I do it to, because
Yeah,
it's
I know.
right in your face of what it's about.
Right, so that gives
So
it meaning. Like let them hear it for themselves.
Yeah, but at the show, like you can't really hear the lyrics that you're saying per se. You can hear
Yeah,
pieces
true,
of
which
them.
is why I get that too.
So then that's why I'm like, all right. So if you're hearing a little bit of it, this is what it's about.
What song is that?
NSA, not safe anywhere.
Okay,
That's
gotcha.
one of my newer ones.
Yeah. So I'm like,
That's and I'm assuming that's about the NSA, right?
Well, not exactly. The song's called "Not Safe Anywhere," and it's referring to the fact that we are in such a surveillance state nowadays that you're always feeling like
Yeah.
someone's keeping an
Big
eye
Brother,
on you.
basically.
Watching you, yeah.
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 And
And that's all.
The
That's pretty much what I explained.
acronym happens to be NSA.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No strings
Funny.
attached.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Not
that. I mean, I get that though, because like for example, like we have the song like "Cool Ice Melts," which is about global warming or like climate change or whatever, and it's like there's times where I feel like it's I don't know, like I feel like the moment makes sense to explain what that song's about, but
Right.
like I don't know, like I just don't necessarily think about it. I don't know. It's weird. I think you're right. It does depend on the song, but I
Yeah.
do feel like, at least in my case, like Kenny doesn't write this way. He just doesn't. He literally told me that his lyrics, for the most part, don't have any meaning to them, is what he said to me.
Yeah, I always
Yeah.
have to have meaning. Like, if,
He said
that's
that
the
to
way
me.
I write too.
I used to be that way with
Yeah.
I didn't really care what the lyrics
It's
meant
like-
as long as they sounded cool.
Yeah.
nah, man,
But
you gotta
I've
be like,
changed my ways.
you gotta be able to say like, if you write a lyric and someone's like, "What does that mean?" I could be able to tell you exactly
Yeah,
what it means.
Exactly.
Should hear some of the
I would
lyrics on
think
the
so,
Grays
too.
Yeah.
music, man. Some of the lyrics I wrote for the Grays just had
random.
absolutely no basis.
Yeah, they make no sense at all.
Yeah, and it's not like there's anything wrong with that. There isn't, and I know, like I'm not
It's
trying
catchy.
to.
It's catchy. you know?
Exactly.
Right,
Yeah.
It sounded cool
3
at
to
the time,
1
but-
doesn't mean anything really.
Well,
Right.
there was a reason behind the song, but yeah, technically speaking, it
The
doesn't.
lyrics don't have anything to
The
do
lyrics
with
don't have anything to do with that. No,
situation,
At all. We ended
yeah.
up just naming the song, and that's a stupid song in my opinion. God damn.
But that's what I mean. Like sometimes
that
you
song.
have songs that don't mean anything. The song was written because they were gonna go play something, and then they kept lowering the number of the songs they got to play. So it went 3, 2, 1. So
Oh.
from 3 it went to 2. But the lyrics have absolutely
Nothing to do
nothing
with
to
that.
do with 3,
No.
2, 1.
Yeah.
It was just like a Jet song. Every time I play that song, I'm like, this sounds like a Jet song. It's like every single Jet song is about some girl. No one knows who that girl is. Who cares?
yeah.
Let's just rip through the song.
Yeah.
That's funny, actually. Yeah.
But some songs have a thing to them, you know, and like deep meanings or whatever.
Those are the songs that deserve the shout out at the beginning of the
Exactly.
song.
That's
to explain.
actually a good point. Yeah, that's see, like that one would be a good one to be like, hey, this is how this song came into existence or whatever. I guess personally for me, it's just like I'm so like over. Like I feel like we're so mature. Like,
Yeah.
like
That doesn't sound pretentious
Yeah.
at all.
well, it's just like
Well, that's the part about like being an artist and a musician is putting yourself out there though, and being
Yeah.
vulnerable. Like that's like I feel like you're not gonna make it unless you're accepting to being vulnerable.
Yeah, saying exactly what's on your mind. And
Yeah, and
True.
yeah, saying exactly what's on your mind, and
that's like literally you're just like you're like changing my fucking opinion on this right now.
but it's true because like I have the same thing. Like my mom passed away 4 years ago, and I have a song that like I have like basically the music, but I haven't because like I want to put it out, but I don't want to make it shitty, and it's like it's hard though because it's like going back to it. You know what I mean? You have to go to that place,
Yep.
and it's hard, but. At the end, those are like the best songs, though. At the end of the day, are the ones that
Yeah, dude, I'm
are the
fuck,
hardest
man.
like that.
I'm
though.
right there with you, bro. Because I wrote a song for my aunt too, and I'm like, I don't think I can ever play that song.
Yeah, like because
It's
it's gonna be
just- it's too close
Yeah,
to
it's gonna be
home.
too emotional every single
Yeah.
time. Because every time you play it live,
You're gonna cry. I'm gonna
it's
cry.
it's gonna bring you back to that point. But at the same time, it's like if it could touch other people, though, you know what I
That's
mean?
true. I did.
I feel like I'd be okay with like putting myself out there as long as it helps someone else
Yeah.
feel closure to some shit
That's
too.
a good point, man. No, I mean, and my mom was actually telling me that she's like, you should perform that song because it's it's
Because
deep.
everyone, yeah, because that's why I'm like being in like what we were saying about being alone. Like, I feel like we're on like the same kind of like wavelength, thinking wise of like you have to be the leader and you have to put yourself out there and be the strong one for the other ones that are too scared to do that. And then they'll look up to you though because they want to do that. You know what I mean though?
Yeah.
And you just have to be there to show them that hey, it's not that bad. I mean, it's
Yeah.
hard, but at the same time, it's
I get
life.
that.
You know?
No, I get that. Yeah, and that's if the music that you're presenting is like you if that's the subject matter, for example, you get what I'm saying? Because like there's obviously bands that don't necessarily like it's very like you have to interpret their lyrics the way you want to. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you because in my case, yeah, I have like for example, "Lungs Filled with Water," which is a song we do perform live, is actually about the death of the cousin of the son from my aunt. Like, which I was the last person to be with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like it was like a really traumatic experience for me as a kid or whatever. But yeah, I wrote that song, and I'll be honest, yeah, like it's gotten to the point where it's not like it's not like I don't think about it anymore, but it's more of like I can play the song now and not necessarily like, you know, have like all that emotion. But for example, for like our album release, we performed it, and it was like, well, this was right after my aunt passed away, so like obviously that song had like a way like bigger meaning to me or whatever. So I was emotional then, but yeah, I don't know. When we first started playing it, like when I first wrote the song, I remember it was hard. It was hard to play it at first. You know what I'm saying? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and that's the other thing too, is I don't necessarily like do that. Like I don't necessarily like explain that. You know what I'm saying? Like whenever we do perform it, like, oh, this song is for my.
Yeah, I feel like those songs, you don't have to explain those though, because people will be able to tell.
And it's about something deep.
Yeah.
Like that. I've actually enjoyed the fact that you've never really explained what that song is about. We just do it. Yeah, we just.
Yeah, like certain, because people will know though, pretty much once they hear it though, you know.
Yeah.
You feel the emotion behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true too. Yeah.
Like,
and I think that they do.
I think so too.
Yeah, like they're just like, oh, that was about something. I don't know about what. It was about something.
Right. There's too much shallow songwriting nowadays. It's great and refreshing to have something deep and meaningful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I do. Yeah, I mean, even because like even the stuff like I'm into like Tame Impala and stuff like that, and their new stuff is very like R&B, like pop stuff, but the lyrics, in my opinion, are very like, you know, kind of like we were saying, like being like vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like he's not taking that away. Like, and I still love the music. The music is great to me, but it's just straight R&B pop music in my opinion. Like it's very like just it's simple. I just love the melodies and all that stuff. But yeah. Anyway, okay, so we've done a lot here.
Where's our time at right now?
We are at almost an hour and
over 2 hours. 60
is it over 2 hours?
Hour.
Yeah.
60 plus 60
over 2 hours.
Yikes!
Oh,
This
shit.
is gonna be probably tied with one of the longest podcasts.
All right.
Damn.
It's up there with Bo. Bose was long.
was like 2.5, I think, actually. Yeah.
Wow.
But no, man. It's cool because it's like to talk to you guys. Was so easy. So we got to get
all day,
you,
man.
Yeah, we got to get you guys back on.
We actually haven't had another band on here, have we?
Nope. Not like this.
Like,
no. Jordan
like
came on.
musicians, yeah.
Kid Loki and Fly Mordecai came on, but they're not a band per se.
Well, we're honored.
Yeah, no, yeah. So yeah, first band. This is pretty dope. So do you guys have any upcoming dates you want to plug? Anything like that?
Well, right now we're kind of focusing on the album
aspect,
recording,
yeah.
so we don't have any show dates confirmed right now. But as soon as they are done, we will be posting them all over the place on Instagram and Facebook. So please give us a follow if you're hearing this right now. We're at viewers.like.you at Instagram and viewers.like.you FL at Facebook.
And what about your email for like mailing lists and stuff?
Viewers.like.you FL at Gmail.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Perfect.
And then I guess is there any content that you guys have? Like I know obviously you guys are recording, but like even like live stuff, like any like videos you guys have?
Well, we got our old stuff on SoundCloud still.
Okay.
We left 3 tracks up there from our old demo. So if you want to hear some of that crappy stuff, go ahead and hunt it down. The links on our Facebook.
Well, all I can say is that you know, with that said about their recording, just if you go see them live, and then their new stuff, I'm sure is gonna sound fantastic. So
yes, thank you.
Go check them out live. They're gonna be fucking, you know, I'm excited to hear the album. Honestly, it's gonna be fucking awesome. And yeah, that's great. Yeah, thank you guys for coming, man.
Thank you guys for having us.
Yeah, I appreciate it. All right. How is it a photo? Hey. All right, I'm gonna.
Daniel, get it.
Sweet. All right. Later.
Bye.
Damn, you did that on the recording?